So we're not live yet. I don't think so anyway.
Yeah,
Are
we're
we?
live. That's it. Yeah, we're live.
Oh Jesus, we're live! Fuck!
We're live.
Run for the hills!
Well, at least I think we are. Let me check, but I'm pretty sure we're live. Yes,
Okay.
Well, it says
One way to
live
find
with
out.
a red background, so.
that's the one.
Let's double check this. I'm not sure. Big. Yeah, we are live. Yeah. Hey, welcome, whoever's there and out in the ether. Maybe nobody. One person. Woo!
I think that
All
was.
out there in TV land or computer land or internet land.
I think that one person was me when I was checking if the stream was going.
Two people now. Woo! Yes, lads and lassies and non-binary pals, we are an eccentric bunch,
To say the least.
to the very least. But thank you for joining me again, John and Ciaran. I appreciate this. Before we start and
you
get
for
into
having us.
meat of the sandwich, I want to say a couple of words about two cinematic icons we lost in the week. First of all, Sergio Salvati, who was a cinematographer who primarily worked with Lucio Fulci in such films as The Beyond, Zombie, and many others. And Black Cat, one of my favorites. And of course, Robert Redford as well, renowned actor, director, pioneer in many ways, but also a huge social justice advocate. John himself there did a lovely video, lovely tribute to him on his channel yesterday. Check it out if you haven't already on Boneyard Cinema. So tonight we are discussing remakes and reboots, amongst other things. So whatever goes. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to answer two age-old questions. Are remakes any good? But perhaps more importantly, why are they made? So over to whoever wants to start off.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I mean, there was a few, wasn't there? I mean, I was looking at the thumbnail for this, and obviously the first one that pops up on the thumbnail is King Kong.
Yes.
King Kong's been made for how many different generations now?
At
So
least two or
you
three.
got King Kong in the 30s, King Kong in the 70s, King Kong in
Yeah.
the early 2000s.
Yes.
So you got Fay King Kong, Jeff Bridges King Kong, and then we've got, I should say,
Jack
Fay
Black.
Ray, Jessica Lange, and then Naomi.
What?
Right? So you got the three different versions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can argue that three versions are made for different generations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So would a 70s generation appreciate the original version of King Kong with the kind of stop motion graphics?
Yeah.
If the 70s generation were to watch the Peter Jackson version, what would they think?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it made us think something Robert Redford said when I was compiling the video that I did about him and looking at different interviews. He said something which I thought was really cool. I mean, he was a bit of a somber character, so it was a somber thing to say, but he said the generation gap is actually really important between generations because it informs us how to move on. It informs us of what's changed. It informs us what needs to be changed. So generation gaps are really important.
Yeah.
Now, different generations are going to have different values.
Mm.
So getting deep into it straight away in the stream, King Kong, and King Kong Lives in the 70s and 80s, and then King Kong, Peter Jackson, King Kong in 2008, was it? Around that time?
2005, I think.
2005.
Yeah.
Do they reflect the values of the time, do you think?
Well, I can only speak that I've got the 30s version.
Yes.
And I've got the 2005 version or 2000 version. And obviously there was a huge difference.
There is.
You know, practical effects as well and CGI and you know, all that. But the story's still the same.
70s version's a lot more of a love story.
Okay.
Jessica Lange and King Kong. It's a lot more of the hippie generation.
Okay.
It's a lot more peace and love. It's about kind of having empathy for King Kong.
Okay.
you do feel sorry for King Kong, obviously in the original one, but he's still portrayed as a beast.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, the 70s one, not so much. And then my least favorite is the Jackson one, I would say.
Okay.
Because I
What about
think
you, Ciaran? Sorry.
I personally, I wouldn't be an expert on the King Kong movies, but I do think that CGI for this kind of a film actually probably works better than it would for other films. I think CGI for the Jurassic Park movies really helped them because I find the old movies, like the 30s King Kong, for example, might have been acceptable at the time, but when you look back on them, the look of the rubber thing, they don't look, they kind of look very amateur if you look back on them. But then it was that of the time.
definitely. I mean, definitely. I mean, that brings up another question. Is it worth remaking a film just
Yeah.
to update the graphics?
Hmm.
Just to update the cameras? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get into that later with Psycho.
Yeah.
But, Refined Solitude, speaking about Redford, was planning to watch 3 Days of the Condor this evening, but it will be a live stream instead. 3 Days of the Condor, one of the best conspiracy theory movies ever made, I think. Or I should say conspiracy movies, not theory. It is a conspiracy.
Yes.
I love the performance in that. 3 Days of the Condor and Jeremiah Johnson are probably my 2 favorite Redford performances, definitely. I would say they're the 2 I'll go to all the time. Then maybe's All the President's Men as a third.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed Indecent Proposal. I thought that was a very, very
Great
good
movie.
role as well. It's probably him in his his newer films, his older days or whatever. But
Still a handsome bugger, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Demi Moore, hey. But
Well, all 3 of them were pretty handsome.
actually, yeah, well, yeah, Woody was just off Cheers, I think, a few years
Right,
at that stage. Yeah.
Nice.
He was still doing Cheers, but he was. I think it was his
Okay,
first
right.
Hollywood movie.
He was in
But
White
good to
Men
see you
Can't
on
Jump at the same
Thank
time,
you.
around the same time.
Well, he wasn't wearing a wig yet, put it that way, or at least he didn't
No.
look like he was.
Right.
But
That's
yeah,
fair
no,
enough.
Indecent Proposal definitely sticks out for me because I suppose I seen it at a very impressionable age. I
Hmm.
seen it when I shouldn't have seen it, probably.
Well, I mean that helps bring us on to another remake, which is
Yeah.
Adrian Lynn, who directed Indecent Proposal. Fantastic director. Came up with a kind of British triple punch, with Ridley Scott, Alan Parker, and then Adrian Lynn. They kind of came off TV and adverts,
Mhm.
gave us these beautiful looking movies. And Lynn remade Play Misty for Me, which Clint Eastwood directed in 72
yes, that's right. Yeah.
as Fatal Attraction.
All right.
And
Okay.
Fatal Attraction, of course, is much more well known than
Yes.
Oh
Play
yeah,
Misty for Me is.
Fatal
Hmm.
Attraction is awesome movie. Yeah.
Play Misty for
Yeah.
Me, I think you can watch. It's a great movie, but it's very of its time.
Hmm.
Right.
Very early 70s kind of California, very,
Yeah.
very early. Whereas Fatal Attraction, it is late 80s, right? 87, I think, something like that.
Yeah. 87.
Yeah,
Yeah.
87. Yeah.
But it still looks magical because of Lynn's direction, and it looks timeless. I think.
Hmm.
I mean that's a great remake, and that was updating a story for a new generation, kind of the yuppie generation.
Yeah.
And I think that was a remake that really worked because of the direction. It's so timeless.
Hmm.
Whereas that was the first movie Eastwood ever directed.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
He actually he took a salary as an actor, but not a director to make that
Hmm.
because he really wanted to get into directing.
Okay.
But I think that's definitely the case of modern technology, a more modern approach, a more skilled approach.
Yeah.
From a director who makes timeless movies like Indecent Proposal, Unfaithful, Fame, which is still pretty timeless, even though you've got the leg warmers and stuff, it still looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good remake that worked and still works, I think, for modern audiences. Whereas Play Misty for me, I love it because I'm a massive Clint Eastwood fan. I love 70s cinema. 3 Days of the Condor, as I said, one of the greatest conspiracy movies ever made, but very of its time too, very of its time. But
something that I must watch for sure, definitely.
Aye.
You enjoy it, Ciaran?
Yeah.
3 Days of the Condor, yeah, that's one that I'm going to put down on my to-do list to watch.
Well, it's like The Refined Solitude was seen. It was one of the first movies I thought of. I thought of Jeremiah Johnson first, and then 3 Days of the Condor, because I think Sidney Pollack directing and Robert Redford together was just the A-team.
Yeah.
I mean, The Way We Were is a magnificent
That is,
film.
yeah.
You know,
That was
out
on
of that,
today, actually, on TV. Yeah.
it's
Was it?
magnificent.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
Redford's always. Don't forget Lolita as well. Such a beautiful film, Refined Solitude as well. A really, really well updated version again with Jeremy Irons playing the Humbert role. But he knew what he was doing there, Lynn, because James Mason, Jeremy Irons, two very refined British actors. You know, that was a great update too. I mean, Lynn is one of my favorites. You can probably tell, right?
Yeah.
But he did do remakes. I mean, they're two remakes that he did, but he updated them perfectly, and I think he made them timeless. Whereas Kubrick's Lolita isn't timeless.
Yeah.
It's very of its time because of the laws that they had in. I mean, both writer Nabokov and Kubrick were happy with the film, despite what people say. I went to the Kubrick exhibition and read letters between the two of them about the making of the film, which was great. I went to the Kubrick archives here in London. I'm a big Kubrick fan as well.
Yeah.
So I read a lot of the correspondence. You can't take it away, but you can read it in the archives.
One of the best Kubrick as well, you know.
And they were both happy with it. They were. But Lynn updated that great. It's a great update, Lolita. It really is.
I was just reading today, actually, Kubrick, about somebody. There was ones online talking about Kubrick's work, and I remember they were saying that they thought that Kubrick's version of The Shining was very rushed, and it wasn't as good a build-up. It was too quick a build-up for Jack's character compared to the miniseries that was done a few years later.
Yes,
or a good few years later, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, 16 years later, roughly.
It's a big one. That I mean, it's a big question. That I mean, it's a really good comparison to make because one is by somebody who interpreted the material, as a horror movie. Kubrick's last film had bombed. Barry Lyndon,
right?
He really needed a hit. So let's go to horror. You know, horror is tried and tested since the beginning of the time. King Kong, you know, always Nosferatu. It's been tried and tested, always been successful, always. The one genre that always scores points with audiences. Kubrick picked it with making a horror movie in mind.
But they said that the miniseries is more supernatural. So
definitely it is. It's definitely the ghosts seem to exist. Whereas the ghosts probably exist in Jack's head, I would think, in The Shining. But there is a famous conversation that happened, the only conversation, I believe, that happened with King and Kubrick, where Kubrick rang him up about 3 o'clock in the morning and said, "So do you believe there's an afterlife?" And I think King went, "I'm not sure, but yeah, I'd like to think so." And he went, "Great. So The Shining's actually quite a positive film then. So there's life after death. Cheers." Bang. Conversation over. I mean, I think that's like one of the conversations that they had together that kind of made King think, "What is this guy doing with my material?" Because the remake, the 90s remake, is about alcoholism. Now, I'm in the camp of people. I actually made a video on this. I think Kubrick's film is about alcoholism as well. I swear to my bones that he knew what he was doing, and I love Stephen King, but I think he misinterpreted Kubrick's interpretation a little bit. I still think there's a recovering alcoholic in there in The Shining. You know, I made a documentary about alcoholism. I've spoke to people about addiction. I'm 100% convinced, but that's my experience of life. You know, so you know what I would be. So, pardon me, somebody else could take it totally differently. But there's no doubt that The Shining that Stephen King wrote himself is the book. It's a direct adaptation of the book. But The Shining, the original, is Kubrick making a horror movie because he needed a hit. And Kubrick, as wicked as he is, he needed a hit, man. You know, he's not just a filmmaker who could do whatever he wanted. You know, Warner Brothers said, "Okay, Barry Lyndon didn't work. Give us a hit because you're working for us." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the people have to take that into consideration too. And there is obviously layers and layers and layers to it that people have put into it themselves, I think. I think The Shining is a very basic story, as most of Kubrick's films actually are. I think it's a very basic story, but it's an adaptation that just said, let's make a horror movie, and it's a great adaptation. It just took the horror element of the book and ran with it. And that's another question, isn't it, about remakes? How should you be, how would you say it? How do you interpret something, but doing a fan service to make it complement the original? Because that's something I want to bring up later on with some horror remakes I'd like to talk about.
No worries.
Because I think Kubrick's obviously Dr. Sleep, the sequel, definitely complemented Kubrick's film, not the miniseries.
Yeah. Oh, it did, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Very underappreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not a remake, but it did definitely run with Kubrick's version, not Mick Garris's version for television.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's always just blatantly because of the scenery.
Yep.
And the flashbacks to the blood from the elevator and.
So I mean, Doctor Sleep complemented the original, whereas the Shining remake didn't complement Kubrick's Shining.
Yeah,
it didn't. Some remakes, I think, do complement the originals. Some don't, and I think that's always a little bit of a mistake. But we'll get into that.
So would you say the Shining miniseries was superior and more faithful?
Well, The Shining is no doubt a better film because I love Mick Garris and I do put him up there with Kubrick. But Kubrick is a far superior filmmaker. Actually, I don't think he is a far superior filmmaker. I'm talking out my bottom there. He is a different filmmaker. He is a more controlled filmmaker. He has his own very unique style, and he worked with budgets that were 20 million times the budget Mick Garris had.
Yeah.
Mick Garris's films like Sleepwalkers that are controlled when he had time and money look absolutely beautiful, and he is a fantastic director. I swear by Garris being a fantastic director, and he seems to get a lot of stick. People love Critters 2. They're like Sleepwalkers, but they kind of dismiss his other, television miniseries work as being kind of just churning out miniseries for television. But I mean, I watched The Stand recently and The Stand remake, and his Stand is a beautiful work of television. He is a beautiful director. I didn't mean to put him down there. I had to kind of pull myself out of that quagmire there because I absolutely love Mick Garris. I really do. But Kubrick is he's a technician, right? Kubrick is a very technical filmmaker, whereas Garris is concentrating on the story.
Yeah.
So The Shining, which Stephen King wrote himself, by the way, the miniseries, the screenplay, concentrates on his own book, his own story. That's his own personal journey that Garris takes us on. Garris was always faithful to his work. I love them two working together just as much as I love Pollock and Redford. I love Stephen King and Garris's work together. But Shannon's a superior technical work of cinema and one that will withstand the test of time because we can always learn from it and we can be inspired by it, I would say. Now, I'm inspired by Garris, very much so. I use wide-angle lenses like Garris did for his television work. I love Garris's angles on The Shining in particular, his really low camera angles. He's got his own style too, but The Shining will be taught in universities and film schools forever. So it was definitely style over story because, like I say, Kubrick's stories are always minimal, but he took the horror and he made a best horror film he could.
Yeah,
and he scored a hit, right? That's what he wanted to do. So people have to remember that too about The Shining. He wanted a hit. Stephen King was coming off the back of Carrie being a movie. He was coming off the back of the Salem's Lot miniseries, scoring hits with Toby Hooper on TV. But in terms of a remake, it's not really a remake, the TV version. It is the book. Whereas Kubrick's version is a remake of the book. But I mean, that's a ranty way to say it. But it is. I mean, that's the difference between those two adaptations, I think.
Yeah. That's fair, I think. I would find
blah 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 blah.
No, you know your stuff for that type of thing, so you may as well get it out there.
I would find the film definitely superior.
Yeah,
well.
It is.
Yeah,
visually definitely superior. Yeah, but what they were saying on the thing I was reading was that the miniseries is more like the book. It's more true to the book.
It is. It's almost exactly the book.
Whereas it's when you're making a Hollywood movie, you want it to be more. You're obviously going to vamp it up a wee bit. Yeah.
King may work as books, they hardly work as movies. That's primarily very true, yes.
It is, and we know that from sales. I mean, a lot of the time it's just his name that's selling the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there has been a lot of decent ones lately from Flanagan kind of working with him, but they're kind of Netflix giving him budgets to work with.
Yeah.
And they do look good. But I mean, we did a whole talk about King, didn't we? And,
our first video, yeah.
And a lot of his movies don't work. A lot of them don't, and it's more than do, definitely.
I think you see when you go into Stephen King as well, like he gets rightly derided for his work,
Yeah.
But you get things like the Lawnmower Man, which totally not the book or the novella.
It was just the title, yeah. It was all
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was the title.
And King wanted his name off that because it wasn't anything like his story.
I mean, Salem's Lot's been remade 3 times.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's been remade twice.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of different remakes of his work in
Mm.
culture. And again, I think that comes back to remakes being made for a new culture or a new generation. Different culture, new generation.
Indeed, yeah.
And that's kind of what I found. I mean, it was I used to teach a class where I talked about The Most Dangerous Game, which was originally a book written for a serial written for Collier's magazine. Then that was picked up and made into a movie in the 30s again. And then that story's been told again and again as The Running Man, as The Hunger Games, as The Maze Runner, as actually The Most Dangerous Game just got remade again. So it was made as Death Race 2000 by Roger Corman. That story's been told again and again and again for different generations, but focusing on a different generation's values.
Yes.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, I think.
But Carrie has also been remade so many times.
Carrie's also, yeah, and I really did. Apparently, I watched the recent, well, not recent, it was 2012, I think. I watched the 2012 version of Carrie that was directed by the director who made Boys Don't Cry.
Oh, Kimberly Pierce.
Yes, Kimberly Pierce. So I was expected to be a brilliant film because Boys Don't Cry is a brilliant movie, and it was horrible. It was so horrible. I almost couldn't get through it. The acting was bad. The editing was bad. The lighting, the direction was so flat. It was just like, what did Kimberly Pierce do? You know, I mean, she did go and do some great work in television after that. But I read that the studio totally took it out of her hands and ripped it to pieces. I mean, they really did. So that was studio interference that wrecked that remake, I think. And I think that's a lot lately with remakes. Churn them out fast, like the Salem's Lot one that we saw recently, which does have its moments, despite what the critics said. I thought it was a pretty decent film, but it's not Salem's Lot. It's just a movie about vampires at a drive-in. You know, it really wasn't the book at all. It didn't have similar characters, similar themes. It was, but I enjoyed it. If it hadn't been called Salem's Lot, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more. Which is another point about remakes, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's one movie which I feel it's been remade too often. A Star Is Born.
Yeah,
that's been remade 3 times already.
That was made. They made a real big deal about the Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper one, didn't they?
That's right. Yeah. And before that, there was Chris Christopherson one.
Well, that was my. Right. I love the Barbra Streisand, Chris Christopherson.
Yeah,
I'm a really big Streisand fan. I think she's a fantastic director. She's a fantastic. I mean, she can do everything, Streisand. She really can. She can do everything. One of her films, Prince of Tides, with Nick Nolte, is one of my favorite all-time movies. I mean, it's she's kind of the Hollywood. I put her and Clint Eastwood kind of side by side. You know, they both came up together. They both became directors at the same time. They both made these brilliant studio films. Never seem to go over budget. Never seem to go over schedule. They know exactly what they're doing. Just fantastic Hollywood filmmakers.
They've both slowly become vampires.
Yeah. And I
in life forever.
They definitely will. Well, they're well on my shelves anyway in the boneyard.
Mine's probably should ask, do you think the remake of Evil Dead worked?
Yeah, I definitely think it worked.
Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
Although I think that was Fede Alvarez, right? The guy that did, he's just done Alien as well, so he's been working on a lot of kind of sequels.
Yeah, there's one before that, I think.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
There was one before that, though. Evil Dead Rise was Fede Alvarez, and then there's one...
right, so it was somebody else. But
yeah, there's one in 2012, I think it was.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. It's the one with the chainsaw at the end, all the red, splitting them in half. It was like, that was, to me, that was like what, this is going to be controversial. That was, to me, what Rob Zombie did to Halloween that I think is good about Halloween that Rob Zombie did.
Okay.
That was my generation. That was long hair, big bearded guys, girls too, going clubbing, having a really good time, you know.
Yes.
That was, and I felt like Halloween, wow, man, he's a film for my generation. Let's get, wrecked, have a party, let's have a good time with horror. And I think that's what the Evil Dead remake did really well too. Yeah. Nowhere near the film the original is.
No, definitely not.
I think but it will be to the generations who that Evil Dead was. You know what I mean?
agree as well.
I meet people because I was a generation before or so, before that Evil Dead.
Yeah.
First time I went to sit in the cinema, I laughed when they restarted the guy's heart with the car battery and stuff. It was like, but I don't think I was supposed to laugh. I think it was supposed to be a shocking moment.
Yeah.
Literally.
And then
But,
you had Dead by Dawn after that, and
yeah.
And if you didn't laugh at that, there was something wrong with you.
But the Evil Dead remake, it does work, and it is a brilliant film. Solitude, I think. I really do think it's a brilliant movie. But for me, again, as this will be a theme for tonight, I do love a lot of remakes. I love a lot of them because I think I'm the guy that remakes are aimed at, because I'm a cinephile, I'm a collector. But I'll always go and see them, always. But there's something about Evil Dead that just kicks ass.
Yes.
That I don't think the sequel. I don't think the sequel did. You know, the sequel is a wicked movie, brilliant horror movie, brilliant. You know, it's but the original, there's something about it that's so gritty, so raw. It's got a lot to do with Bruce Campbell as well. I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. You know, the performances were different back then. There were a lot more Three Stooges because Sam Raimi loves the Stooges. And that was lost in the remake for me, but it was a different filmmaker's vision, like Lolita, actually. Solitude, coming back to Lolita. It was a beautiful cinematic film, like what Lynn did with Lolita. You know, two filmmakers, as good as each other in many ways, but also very different. So two brilliant technical filmmakers, both Lynn, and I can't remember who directed the remake, I'm sorry. But and Kubrick. And Sam Raimi, you know, making those remakes. They're all brilliant directors, and it makes a difference. Give a remake to a new director, which I want to get onto with Candyman in a little bit.
Oh, no, sorry, it was Freddy Alvarez.
It was Freddy Alvarez. I thought it was. It didn't. Yeah. It didn't work, the Candyman one. But we'll get into remakes that didn't work, I think, in a bit. But I do think it's a great one to bring up, Solitude, because it did work. And I speak to a lot of younger people than me, maybe it's about 10 years younger than me, who that's their favorite. You know, you can't get them away from that because that was their generation's Evil Dead. And I think that's kind of the way I feel about the Halloween remake. Halloween Carpenter 78 is one of my favorite all-time movies, but that's something that was really generational about Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yes.
That was that was my generation of people. And it was
works for that 2000s vibe, yeah.
It does, doesn't it? It really does. I think all his movies do. 1,000 Corpses, Devil's Rejects. You go back and watch Devil's Rejects and Corpses now, they're very of the time.
I remember seeing Devil's Rejects in the cinema. Jeez, that was some show.
Oh man, I know it. The effects are starting. They've roughened a bit with age. It looks a bit rough now, some of the effects. But boy, Halloween, I think it still works because it's part of that franchise. I think Evil Dead will definitely work, and it'll be forever connected with that as a great remake of a very, very original but superior film, in my opinion.
They're making a sequel to the 2023 one, I think. So that might be the next generation's Dead by Dawn.
Yeah, totally.
Doing well, so
I must say, my favorite idea out of the two things we're discussing tonight, the remakes and reboots, I have to say I like a good reboot. I think a reboot is more kind of hooks me in more than a remake, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm the same here.
Because I like the way that they can subtly make reference to one character, or certainly in a reboot, or they can not totally change the whole thing. You can still think back to the other films as you can nearly look at it, sort of a reboot sometimes as a sequel, but like a lot of the Bond movies and the Batman stuff, you know, I really do think that Batman Forever was probably more of a reboot than a sequel to Batman Returns. Even there's only a couple of little references, you know.
I would agree. Yeah, definitely. I would agree. It was I love Batman Forever. It was one of my favorites. But it is it's a throwback to the more lightheartedness of the comics.
Yeah.
Whereas Tim Burton, it's similar to what Kubrick did with King. It's similar. Tim Burton's a very unique filmmaker. And he whacked his own unique stamp and his own unique dark comedy on Batman. And that dark comedy is there, but it's not Tim Burton's comedy in the comics.
That's
but
true,
but it worked. And Batman Forever, for me, was the comedy of the comics.
Definitely.
Holy rusted metal, Batman. You know all that. I like that stuff in.
But that was kind of more of
going back. It was nice they put it on.
I almost look like Harvey Two-Face with a half pink and the half.
But
flipping.
Dang. But no, I think Batman Forever was going back to the TV show.
Aye, more so, yes. TV so more than the comics, yes.
Yeah, the humor.
I think that Batman and Robin maybe more so, but Batman Forever was getting there. Yeah.
It was dark, for
Yeah.
a Joel Schumacher film, to be honest with you, until he made 8mm. But
Who did Lost Boys? Was that Schumacher?
yeah,
That was
it
him
was,
again. Yeah.
Aye.
yeah, he made.
That's a class movie.
Little sister.
That's right. That was the soundtrack. Yeah.
I'm sure we've sang that in a different stream.
I think we did. We can do it again.
Let's do the acapella.
Hang on. I don't think the words. Get the words up.
So Reboots is an interesting one. Then it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd be more lured into a reboot than a remake. Yeah.
I've been kicked in the face for seeing this many times, and I'm sure I'll be kicked in the face many more times again.
Right. Okay.
But
Ready?
But I quite like Nightmare on Elm Street 2010.
Ooh.
Because I thought it worked as a reboot. Now I'm die hard Wes Craven, right? I really am. And I've got a few friends who are diehard Wes Craven too, and they shout me down and say they'll never speak to us again every time I mention the fact that I quite like the reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street. I thought Jackie Earle did a great Freddy. Obviously, no Robert Englund because nobody else can be.
Yeah.
And this is kind of similar to the Evil Dead, actually, Solitude, thinking about the Evil Dead, that they knew they couldn't be Sam Raimi because they're so unique, so they went for their own thing.
Yes.
But paid enough homage to the original and the original story. And I thought it did. I'm not going to tell anybody it's great because it's not, but it's a comfort movie for me in many ways, and I'll stick it on and watch it at least once or twice a year. But I'll watch the original maybe 10 or 20 times a year. That's how much of a diehard Wes Craven I am.
Okay.
And I'll watch Hills Have Eyes more. But the not the remake, not the remake, the original. But I do like the remake of Hills Have Eyes too.
Yeah, me too.
I can identify with that being a comfort because I would do the same with the likes of Seinfeld and the animated series of Batman, stuff like that. Put it on the background.
That's what I'm like with it. I won't pay too much attention to it because there isn't much substance there. But I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. Some of the CGI is obviously a bit rough because it was the 2010s, so it wasn't the greatest. But there's just something about it I like. There really is. I mean, some people think that the lead actress, goodness me, I can't remember her name now, just sleepwalks through the film. And I kind of tell them, well, the movie's about sleepwalking.
Yes.
And I think the two leads both kind of sleepwalk through the movie. And I like that about it. It's got a quiet, subliminal kind of dream-like performance to the whole thing. And I quite like that about it. I really do. But again, I'm not saying it's a patch on Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven, because it isn't.
Yeah.
But why not? I mean, I've been to see 20 versions of Hamlet on the stage, and 19 of them have been terrible. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it's one of my favorite stories, so I'll keep going back. And I think that's what I mean by remakes and reboots. Whereas I'm a fan because I love them so much, I do keep going back. It's a bit like an addict going back and trying to catch a little bit of that first twinge you got when you saw the first one. But I never minded it, and I mean, I'd like to think Boneyard Cinema is a really respectful place. And I mean, Glenn, our mutual friend from Cynical Celluloid, has often said to me that he's so amazed at how much I love film and I've hardly got anything bad to say about anything. And it's like, I do. Believe me, I do. There's a lot of things I've got a lot of questionable opinions on, should we say, that cause a lot of kind of friction with other fans. But this being one of them. About the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. But I think every film's worth a go once.
Yes, I think so.
What's your thoughts on? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about horror movies briefly. Well, we're not briefly, but one horror film that was rebooted recently. Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I'm a huge Hellraiser fan.
Yeah.
And I've read the book, or novel, I should say.
Clive Barker.
Yeah.
Is it Hellbound Heart?
Yeah.
Yep.
And And then when when you watch the first couple of movies, not the first couple of movies, but the Doug Bradley Pinhead ones, even though he wasn't Pinhead as such, he was Hell Priest
Yeah.
in the first one.
Yeah.
They are good. They are scary and
They're
it makes you
really
think.
scary. Like they're a cool concept. I really love the idea
Yeah,
of watching them, but actually getting down to watching them can be dodgy for me.
I
yeah,
really like Scott Derrickson. And
yes,
I really like Inferno. I do. I
yeah,
really like Hellraiser Inferno. And that's another one I've got a lot of stick for. But out of
mm,
everything, that's my favorite kind of sequel, prequel, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
That is next to the first two, I would say.
mm,
That's my next favorite because I kind of couple 1 and 2 together the same way I couple Halloween 1 and 2 together.
yeah, yeah,
They're both really good complements to each other, and different takes, but complements.
mm,
And I really like Inferno. That was almost because it was my generation again. It was video coming into video and stuff, and he used all those different kind of elements. He was low
yeah,
budget. I mean, Derrickson got a lot of stick for remaking The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves and Jennifer Connelly,
hmm
and I love that too. I really like that kind of remake. And I keep finding myself going back to this. I'm a diehard because I'm a diehard Robert Wise fan. I love the original Day the Earth Stood Still from the 50s. I love it. I watch it all the time. I love that movie. I've shared the name John Rennie with Michael Rennie, the actor in the film.
yeah.
but,
No
but
relation. Mm,
but I thought Derrickson had a totally original spin on it,
mm,
and I really liked the original spin he took with it because you can't do The Day the Earth Stood Still again. It's so iconic. So I thought he took his own thing, which Derrickson has got his own unique style, and I've collected his work. I really like
yeah,
Sinister. I really like. I love his the one with Eric Bana he did about the true life Deliver Us from Evil. That's a fantastic film. I'm digging the Black Phone stuff. I haven't seen The Gorge yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I'm a big fan of Derrickson's work. And again, I found myself being quite out there on a limb, or not that on a limb, but just not a very popular opinion that his remake of Day the Earth Stood Still was great, and I think it's great. It's never going to be iconic.
no,
The original was iconic. Same with Evil Dead. The original Evil Dead is iconic. The original Halloween is iconic. These films, Hellraiser is iconic.
What was your thoughts on Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah, I thought it was fun, man. I partied with that film. I did. I had lots of beers before I went to the cinema to see it.
Yeah.
I had lots of beers after. Every time I watch it now, I generally find myself having a few beers when I watch Freddy vs. Jason. But I love it. I do. It's nice to see the kid from a Christmas Story getting his ass kicked by Freddy.
Refined Solitude says the Thing remake sequel prequel was a missed opportunity.
Yes, indeed.
Hmm.
What do you guys think? I did think it was a missed opportunity.
I thought
Well-
the Thing was an awesome movie, so I think anything they could bring out of the same continuity would be great. Like,
Hmm. Well, myself and Ciaran were talking off stream a couple of days ago about actually the Thing, and we are saying about the 20, I think it's 2013, isn't it? Came out 2011, 2012, 13.
I remember seeing it at the cinema, so it must have been.
It was more from the Norwegians' point of view.
Yeah, well, it was the camp, so it's the camp that McCready goes to with the doc.
Yeah.
And see, that was, I did like that fan service.
Mm.
We know where the axe come from. We know how the guy slit his throat. But at the same time, we didn't need to know where the axe came from.
Mm.
We didn't need to know how that guy slit his throat because everything we did with our imaginations made that so much better. It did. And I think that's where I agree with you, Solitude, and that's why it was a missed opportunity.
Mm.
They could have done their own thing with it. But all that fan service kind of got in the way a little bit. And also the people who made it didn't quite understand the concept,
Yeah.
If you watch the movie, all this stuff about the teeth and the fillings and all that, there's people with piercings in the Thing that come back and they've got piercings. I think it's the doc, right? Is it the doc who's got? No, sorry, he doesn't turn into the Thing. But there's one of the guys, I can't remember who it is, but they've got an earring and they've got an earring when they're the Thing. It's just simple things like that. So why would the fillings be different? And that there was some things that they missed, I thought. I mean, I'll have to go back and watch it again because it's been a while. I did think, I think it was Mary Elizabeth Winstead, wasn't it?
Yes.
I did think she was okay, and I loved that Joel Edgerton He was really, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, Egerton. But he was great in the prequel.
It is Edgerton, I think.
Edgerton, I really like him. He's in a great film I love called The Master Gardener that Paul Schrader directed, which I really loved. I think he's a great actor. But it was total missed opportunity. Didn't enjoy it, but every now and again I've gone back and watched it. Apparently there was some people who said that they did a almost full practical movie.
Okay.
And then the studio asked them to go back and beef it up with CGI.
Oh, gee.
Okay.
Excuse me. And that kind of ruined, because it's very much of its time now, the Thing prequel, because it's got that kind of not quite right CGI element to its graphics. Whereas the Thing being practical, and Rob Bottin being a pretty masterful artist in his own right, with RoboCop and The Howling, and I did little bits of Piranha and things. Well, just a little bit in Piranha, but he did loads of great stuff. Bottin, Fight Club, and all that. I mean, he's a master. 23 years old, if that, doing the effects in the Thing. I mean, that's incredible. It's an incredible work, and it's a work of art, that film, and it's a work of craft, as I always feel about Carpenter. Carpenter is a true craftsman. He understands cinema. He understands the camera. He understands light. I mean, going back, I remember them bringing the Thing out on Blu-ray. And I've been watching it on VHS for years. Then I watched the DVD for years, and then the Blu-ray, and now the 4K. And you see the lighting come out, that blue light in the snow. Oh, it just looks incredible. He was a true craftsman. And again, Solitude, prequel, none of that craft's in it, really. It's all just CGI monsters and people running around scared. There's none of that craft of building emotions, making people afraid, making people invested. There's a bit. The Thing in the prequel, it's supposed to be a monster that hides. That's what's scary about it. It hides, so you don't know where it is, right? And then but it seems to show itself every 2 seconds in the friggin' prequel. They're in the helicopter, and the guy's head just splits open for no reason at all. And it's like, why would the Thing be thinking, wicked, I'm on a helicopter, I'm getting out and going to assimilate more people now? It wouldn't just be showing itself to everybody. There was total missed opportunity, Solitude. You nailed that.
Bit of a controversial take, but I think the Thing, when we say sequel, it's not the sequel. It's not even a prequel. Right? It's happening at the same time.
Well, it's not, because the dog begins the film.
No, hear me out. Okay? There's a reason why I'm saying that, because the true sequel, and this is my geek hat on, is Ice. Right? An episode of the X-Files.
Oh, I remember Ice, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in season 1, isn't it?
Yeah, season 1, yeah.
One of my favorite lines ever, when they've all got to strip naked. Mulder says, "Now we are in the snow. I have to remind everyone."
That is right. Yes.
Oh, I said, "No, we are. It's like 40 below or something." I just want to. But the helicopter pilot, and that's a great.
That's a true sequel.
Yeah, it is.
Great episode. Anybody?
No, exactly. It's really cool. That's when I knew. I thought, yes, I'm going to stick with Mulder. He's my guy. It was great. Now I have to remind you, it is cold.
And I may have red hair, but I'm not a skeptic like Paul. I'm a believer like Mulder. But no, joking aside, I haven't seen the prequel, remake, whatever you want to call it. I have it somewhere over there, but haven't watched it yet.
Well, like I say, Kerry, everything's worth a watch once, and it is worth a watch once. It is. I mean, people, the performances, some are good, some are terrible. Because, but again, it's hard to compare, isn't it? And I think that's often the mistake that we'll make with sequels, prequels, and reboots, is that we'll compare them.
Yes.
Because we always know that if there is a sequel or a prequel, it's because the film has been very, very successful, right?
Yeah.
But they want to repeat that again with half the budget of the original. So you're going to get half the kind of quality. And I mean, that happens throughout franchises, throughout remakes and reboots in our time. Whereas that was reversed back in the day. Now, this brings us back to what we were talking about maybe updating movies. Because Ben-Hur has been made 3 times.
Yeah.
First Ben-Hur was an epic of the 40s, right, I believe?
50s, yeah, 58.
Then they did Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston.
Oh, that's one. I'm sorry.
So
Yeah.
that was the remake. That was in a remake of.
Sorry. Okay, I
And,
apologize. Yeah.
and then they did the recent remake, and it was awful,
Mm.
really bad
I heard
because
that. Heard.
I heard that. Yeah.
because they tried to update it too much.
Mm.
So they used that kind of Born Identity type camera and made it into a like Born Identity action, like the
Okay.
Paul is it Paul Greengrass did the whole, and he nailed it. I have to say in the Born Identity, but then a lot of people copied it. The kind of action jumping around, and that was the mistake that the third remake made. It tried to update it too much. They should have kept it epic, like the Heston one in the 50s. Was it Cecil B. DeMille who did the Ben-Hur? I can't remember.
I'm not sure,
But it was. I mean, still to this day, it's one of my favorite remakes. Is the Heston Ben-Hur, and that's the same with Last of the Mohicans. When Michael Mann updated Last of the Mohicans with Day Lewis, that's the one we all talk about. Nobody talks about the original silent Last of the Mohicans, which is a very clunky film. So sometimes you can flip it around and giving them more budget makes it work. But then I think it also goes the other way, which we get more and more now with sequels, prequels, and remakes. They get half the budget of the original and they can't create that same magic.
Mm.
Sometimes it does work. I think with like Ben-Hur and like Last of the Mohicans, sometimes it does work trying to recreate the success of the originals.
I think when Ciaran mentioned reboots earlier, my mind went to RoboCop.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
From 2014. Because that was more of a reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we look at that way. Yeah, definitely.
Because it was like you couldn't top Verhoeven's over-the-top violence for a start.
Well, they tried to make the reboot for kids. That was the mistake.
Yeah.
They made the reboot at 12.
Yes.
Everybody who loves RoboCop loves it because it's Verhoeven, because it's excessive, because it's over the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like Raimi, like I was saying before with Evil Dead, you'll never recreate that again because Raimi's a very unique director. No one's been able to replicate what he did with Spider-Man because he was his own guy. No one's been able to replicate what he did with Darkman, for example, because he's his own guy, right? But with the RoboCop, they lost the plot completely. They lost the fans of the original because they made it a kids' movie. Now, obviously, they've been the series in the 90s and the TV movies.
Yeah.
In between that we aimed at kids. I remember the toys, from the RoboCop series were everywhere. They really tried to sell it, but it didn't work. It only ran for a couple of seasons because it didn't have the violence that people loved in RoboCop 1 and 2. Very over the top, very unique, very dark, very dystopian, very almost Orwell-esque in its look at the future.
Yeah.
It didn't have any of that in the remake. They didn't have the dystopian future or anything. It was like they'd lost everything that made RoboCop. They thought a guy in a metal suit was RoboCop. It's not. RoboCop is the world of RoboCop. It's like
that version of RoboCop, that one they called RoboCop Crash and Burn. Is that a TV movie? Is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There was.
There was 3 of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was Meltdown. There was a couple. I can't remember the names.
Were they sequels to the original RoboCop, or were they not?
So they were more to do with the series. They were like TV after the series finished. I think they still had loads of footage, and they edited them into full TV movies, if I remember rightly. That's interesting what Solitude says about Michael Mann, because LA Takedown Solitude that Michael Mann remade into Heat was a pilot for a TV series. And LA Takedown failed to be picked up because this is when he was in the Miami Vice days, when he was producing shows and Crime Story. That's a really interesting point. Again, cheers for all these points, Solitude. You brought up some great points tonight. The LA Takedown is really interesting because it's same dialogue, almost exactly the same staging in the scenes between McCulley and the cop, Hannah. Almost exactly the same. But it's 2 different actors. And one's very TV, LA Takedown, and one's very cinematic Heat. And it's a bit like what I was talking about with Kubrick and Garris in that. One's minuscule budget, but the story's there in LA Takedown, it is. But it's definitely improvement. Heat, is a cinematic experience, Solitude, I think. That's a movie that really helped get me into movies back in the early 90s when VHSs were out. I watched Heat again and again on VHS. I mean, until it did burn out and I had to get another one. I love that film. I'm a big Michael Mann fan. But I also appreciate LA Takedown because you can really see the improvement and you can see that budget, technology, performance from the actors can really help the script because it's pretty much exactly the same script in some of the scenes, not all of it, but some of it. And that's a great example because it's a director remaking his own work, which is also something I wanted to discuss tonight. Directors who remake their own films.
Before we go any further, I have to apologize. Didn't have the comments on the screen there, so that was my bad. So,
all right, fantastic. All right,
so everybody can see them now. So people watching back can see them. So I should have had that on earlier, but
yeah, it's a great point, Solitude. It is. There's I wanted to talk about directors who remake their own work because it's not just Man with Heat in the 90s. It's happened throughout all of cinema history. Directors remaking their own films to improve on their own work or for different audiences. So a lot of filmmakers like Michael Haneke with Funny Games redirected his own movie, right, for an American audience with American or a British and American cast because it was Tim Roth and Naomi Watts, wasn't it?
Shot for shot remake, yeah. Same actors it was.
So that's happened a couple of times in cinema history.
Yeah,
where directors have remade their own films.
And Hitchcock did it himself as well.
This is what I'm talking about. I think it's a really interesting thing. So I don't think The Man Who Knew Too Much with Doris Day and James Stewart is that much of an improvement on Peter Lorre's Man Who Knew Too Much.
Which is the Lorre's version.
They're two different films. They're very different films made from the same scenarios like LA Takedown and Heat. Now, both those films, in my opinion, are magnificent films. I really think they're brilliant movies. I grew up watching Hitchcock's silent films from England when I was a kid more than I was watching Marnie or Psycho or Vertigo. I was watching his English movies because I'm English, right? So I had all of those videos from like my family, my grandparents and things had those films. And the ones that didn't have, I went out and bought. But I was seeing all the Hitchcock's earlier films. So I fell in love with 34. I think it was 34, Man Who Knew Too Much. Then he remade it 20 years later. Was it? And then it was 54 when he made it with James Stewart, right?
Oh, 56. Well,
56. So
30s and 50s anyway, for definite.
30s and 50s. So, but I don't think it's that much of an improvement. But I love both movies. I really do. And you can because it's by Hitchcock, and I think, like what Solitude was saying with Takedown and Heat, I think Hitchcock said, you know what it is? Screw this. I've got the opportunity to fix a film of mine that I didn't like. I'm going to do it. And he did it because I think that's why he did it, because he didn't like the original, whereas I love it. And I think Haneke doing Funny Games, or indeed the Ring remake, that was a remake of Ringu, which was Takeshi Miike, was it, who directed the original?
Yeah.
Takeshi Miike directed both versions, The Grudge as well, right?
Yep.
So The Grudge was remade for American audiences, for Western audiences. That happened later with Snowpiercer. The Snowpiercer was made for very Western audiences, whereas
one was called as well.
Yep. It's
Dark Water.
So when you see directors who kind of make films for example, Parasite, that was what I was thinking. Parasite was made for a very specific audience, Korean, right?
It was a Korean film, yeah, but it was marketed towards the West.
Whereas the same director made Snowpiercer for a very American audience. Cast with American actors who went into TV and all that. You had Chris Evans in the lead. So they're not remakes, but films for different audiences by the same director. And I think Parasite's a much better film. And in the way that I think Ringu is a much better film than The Ring, or The Grudge is a much better film than the remake. The Grudge.
Ju-on, yeah.
Ju-on.
Well, Ju-on is more of a series of films.
Yes.
It's the same premise, but it's a different spirit.
So being more of a fan of Japanese and Korean cinema than I am, I mean, I do love Korean cinema, particularly, and Japanese, to be fair. But I've got my favorites. I'm not like a brainer on the whole thing. But what do you think about the remakes that were made for Japanese and then American audiences or Western audiences?
Well, to be honest, there is a lot of cultural differences. First of all, first and foremost,
Yes.
like if you see Audition,
Yes.
again, Takashi Miike, and it's very centered on Japanese males being strong and have to be, they're proud, and then the tables are turned when the auditioned wife, gets her own back, basically.
Yes.
That hasn't been remade because it wouldn't work to Western audiences.
Yeah.
But then you get something One Missed Call, and that's scary. The Japanese original.
I feel the same. I mean, I think it was the same director who did Pulse as well, right?
I'm not sure.
Was it the same director who directed both movies? I think I'm wrong about that, actually. I don't think it is. But Pulse was a remake I liked because it was very much of its time, as was the original Pulse. Now, that was a remake I did really like that was made for Western audiences with Kristen Bell in the lead. I thought that one worked really well. I really liked the horror of it. It was kind of creepy, whereas the original was really creepy.
Yes, right, yes.
It was all that fear of technology that the Japanese do so well, like, because obviously most of the best technology in the world comes from Japanese cities and Japanese workers and Japanese manufacturers, Japanese scientists, Japanese minds, and they've got a real fear, like almost in their blood, because of Hiroshima and because of all that Godzilla stuff. You see it reflected in their movies right from the war.
Yeah,
that's right.
They've got this kind of fear of technology that we don't.
Well, it's like Kurosawa when he made Akiru, and
it's like I don't think Western audiences have the same.
I Live in Fear, and
it's a huge cultural difference. I think that.
Yeah, that's the difference. You see.
Yeah.
Like, Refined Solitude there is about the Psycho remake from '96 by Van Sant, was it?
Yeah, Gus Van Sant, man.
So I thought that was quite good, but it wasn't as good as the original. Definitely not.
No, definitely not.
No.
But you're gonna hate me, Solitude, because I'm like the biggest Van Sant fan in the world, and this is probably me. Honestly, Solitude, it's probably me because I love him so much. I've talked myself around to liking the Psycho remake because I love Van Sant's movie. Malinoche, one of his earlier movies, and To Die For, and Drugstore Cowboy in particular, and there's also My Own Private Idaho. They had a huge impact on my young life. So I've kind of talked myself around into liking the Psycho remake.
It showed the diversity of what Vince Vaughn can do as well. Like, he's obviously a serious actor. He was pretty good in that. Like,
Anne Hesh did. I know. I mean, rest her soul, but totally rubbish as Marion Crane. It was. But I did love James Remar popping up as the cop because I'm a big fan of the Warriors, and I also liked Sex and the City.
Oh yeah.
And James Remar's an actor. He's in Tales from the Dark Side as well. He's an actor I've kind of followed James Remar's career. I'm a big fan of his career, television and film work. Exquisite Tenderness is a great movie. He did kind of a Hitchcockian TV thriller, all set in a hospital. But Solitude, man. Drugstore Cowboy with Burroughs. I love Burroughs and Drugstore. It's just one of those movies, Solitude, that was. I was at the right time, right place. It was like capturing a cultural zeitgeist, and in my opinion, Gus Van Sant is in my top 10 directors of all time. I love Van Sant's work. I think that's probably why I've talked myself around to liking Psycho, because he was. I think he was making a comment on cinema. And he was saying, if I'm going to remake something, why should I remake something that's perfect? All I'll do is make it in color and update some of the words. That's all he did. And he also put a few flashes of inside Norman Bates' mind on the screen. So you see like a girl with a blindfold on, and for a couple of seconds, like a cow dead in the middle of the road, just like these flashes. And it worked for me at the time. But I've talked myself around to liking it. I will watch it. I've watched it a few times. I'm a huge Viggo Mortensen fan, and I think he's a much better Sam Loomis than John Gavin is in the original, because John Gavin's the worst thing about Psycho. I think he's a little bit wooden in the original. But Viggo gives a wicked performance, I think, as Sam Loomis. I like William H. Macy, who pops up as Arbogast, the detective. But but it's not like, I mean, earlier, for example, we discussed Lolita that you talked about, and we discussed Heat, Takedown. We discussed the other films that they're not. It's Van Sant Psycho isn't like them. It's like he was commenting on something, and it just misfired. It really did. But I do agree with you that nobody likes it because they don't. But I've talked myself around it and I like it, and I think because I'm a fan of the director, and that's just personal opinion, you know, it really is. And I've come to realize that it's because I just worship him so much that I,
John.
you know, that I like the film.
Yeah.
But Drugstore Cowboy with Burroughs is, I mean, it's a masterpiece in my opinion. I think Kelly Brock's amazing in that. Heather Graham is amazing in that. I fell in love with James Lee Gross in that. It's a brilliant movie. And for me, Van Sant just captured the certain zeitgeist, and I think he tried to comment on cinema with the Psycho remake, and it misfired. I think it did misfire, but
definitely, yeah.
No, yeah.
I watched it once, and
I've watched it about. I can't count. I've watched it a lot. I really have.
I'll be honest with you, I just thought, no, why is he trying to do shot for shot?
Well, I don't think you needed to see the masturbation shot. Because you didn't need to see it in Hitchcock. I don't think you needed to see it in the remake. But it was for more modern audiences, you know. And he did make subtle differences. Like in the opening, for example, there's the shot that he talked about in depth in interviews at the time, where Hitchcock does 3 cuts. You see the town, could be any town. You see the hotel, could be any hotel. The camera could go to any window in any of those one rooms, and it could tell you the story in any of those one rooms. Just so happens it lands on Crane and Loomis's window, right? And he goes into the window. Brilliant opening. But he couldn't do that. He couldn't just drift the camera into a window from a city landscape because you couldn't do that in 1960. And Van Sant said, okay, well, I'll do that. I'll take the camera in the window. And I admired little touches like that. But like I say, this is God knows how many views of it in, and talking myself around to liking a film by a director I love. I've done that with a lot of Romero's later works as well, you know. I really have.
Right. Who do I make the check out payable to?
Van Sant, it's like some people just have a overbearing influence on your education and your film study and your life, and he was one of them. And I learned a lot from the misfire of Psycho, so I kind of like how much I learned from it being a misfire.
Well, that's I can't top that.
I'm just fascinated by your sheer knowledge of every piece of cinema in history, John. To be honest, I could listen to you forever. Like
I'm just lucky. I think me and Refined Solitude have got a similar taste there.
Block.
Nah, fair play.
Yeah, exactly. It's only a bit of crack, a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But no, I spoke briefly there about Hellraiser remake.
Yes.
Getting back to that briefly, I was excited for it, because Jamie Clayton going to play, a book accurate or a story accurate, Hell Priest, and the transphobes were all like, she can't play this role because it's Doug Bradley even, his masterpiece work and all this. But the thing is, those people probably haven't read the story.
Exactly. Or what about Vargas and Bloodlines? I mean, Vargas is just as scary as Bradley is.
Yeah. Not as scary.
Well, that's another one I really like that nobody else seems to.
Not as scary.
I just love Valentina Vargas. I think she's a great actress. I love her in The Name of the Rose and Southern Cross, and I think I was really pleased she was in a Hellraiser franchise I really admire.
But, Hellraiser Judgment, that's out of the whole post Bloodlines.
That's Lance Henriksen, isn't it?
No.
Which one was he? Hellworld. He was Hellworld.
Hellworld, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, the one about the computer websites.
Yeah, and Henry Cavill's first film role.
Yes.
Bit of trivia for you there.
Interesting.
I think it was, Refined Solitude. I think it was King Lear, wasn't it? That My Own Private Idaho was an adaptation of King Lear, I think.
I was going to say,
that's a good one there. Yeah.
I think it was King Lear. It's been a while since it is a beautiful, beautiful film. That one of my favorites. It's got one of my favorite Udo Kier. I fucking love Udo. Pardon my language. I love Udo Kier and My Own Private Idaho.
See, whereas you like him in that, I like him in Suspiria.
Well, so speaking of remakes, she'll get into
Yeah, there you
Suspiria because
go.
that's a really interesting remake.
Yes, very much so.
Do you mind if I just snip down and grab a beer before we start talking about Suspiria?
One for me, will you?
Although just start and I'll catch up, but I'll just be 2 seconds. Sorry.
No worries. We'll talk about the original Suspiria. Well, I will.
All right, you go ahead there. I'll watch or listen.
Technical color.
I'm bluffing it. You know what I mean?
No, change it. No jokes. No, the original Suspiria definitely one of Argento's best. I mentioned before how much I love, Dario
Okay.
and his work. But the remake, it's so very different in a good way.
Okay.
It's a different director. It's done by a queer director, and a lot of Argento's work. I actually watched a wee video the BFI did. That's the British Film Institute.
Yeah.
Did on Argento's work, and basically, it's all most of the characters are queer coded. And when I say queer, I mean LGBT plus.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Not just gay men or whatever. There's trans characters, there's bi, there's lesbians.
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy who directed the remake of Suspiria, he is a queer man or gay man. I think he is a gay or bisexual. But I'm not going to spoil it because there is a character in the film, and I don't know if you've seen it, Ciaran, but character in the film, not in the original.
I heard of the film and I've seen like clips, but I've never seen the full film. No.
Well, there's a character in the original or remake. Sorry. If you know, you know. But just John, I'm just saying about how the original was had a lot of queer characters.
Yes. Yep.
Argento.
Yes.
Especially a lot of in his works, and then
Argento loves beautiful women, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He
but
really
I can't pronounce the guy who's the director, Luca Guadagnino or something. Who directed
that's right. I had this far as I know, Luca Guadagnino. Yes.
Yeah, he's a queer gay man himself.
Oh right, I didn't know that.
Well, queer or bisexual, I'm not sure.
So Dogtooth and
no, that was Yorgos Lanthimos.
Oh, that was Yorgos Lanthimos, right?
Yeah.
So Luke Guadagnino, remind me of the filmography because if I had some
the
Lobster. Did you do Lobster?
No, that was Lanthimos as well.
Man, bugger, sorry. Yeah.
It's all right. But no, just saying, there's a character in the remake, not in the original.
All right.
As I'm not going to spoil it for Ciaran because he hasn't seen it. But the character itself is, you'll know when you see the character. Well, I want to show you a picture because that helps. Because
I mean, so the remake of Suspiria for me, it does a lot right, but it does a lot wrong as well. I was not a fan, as much of a fan as everybody else was of the remake of Suspiria, but I appreciated the fan service of like Jessica Harper and stuff popping up in the film. It was like I really thought the Luca Guadagnino obviously respected Argento. Yes. And I think that goes a long, long way in the remake of Suspiria. I think he also respected possession because there's a lot of possession in the remake of Suspiria. But it's a very powerful remake, does things very differently, but also does things very much the same, sticks with the same style, kind of enhanced reality style. So you get the kind of dream sequences of the swirling kind of mist things. And you know what? I loved all that about the remake, but I wasn't as crazy about it in terms of, because I fell in love with Suspiria, Argento's film, the first time I saw it. It just had an impact that Guadagnino's didn't have for me, I'm afraid. But it was a very good film in terms of telling me a story that I was engrossed in. At the time, I had no idea how long the film was, but I felt like I felt like I'd been told a story that had a beginning, middle, and an end, and I did enjoy it. Oh, okay. Yes. All right. Tilda Swinton.
Yes. Yeah. One of my favorite actresses.
Yes, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm a big
see the guy
Jarmusch
in the
fan.
middle.
Pull up something
You see the
Jarmusch.
guy in the middle there, Ciaran,
Yeah.
right? Would you believe that's the same person as on the left and the right?
Jesus, really?
Yeah, Tilda Swinton.
Wow. Wow. There you go. Hey.
And it kind of works into the whole story of the Mama Suspirium.
I think
The three
that's
brothers.
that's a great talent in movies that the makeup people can do that, like, you know. And
Yeah. Well, the three mothers trilogy. Mama Suspirium, Mama. Oh,
I
fuck!
don't know. I just know them as Suspiria, Inferno, and Mother of Tears.
Yes, that's yeah. Well, there is three witches anyway in Italian folklore.
Remember Suspiriatum.
Can we play Dublin?
I remember that one.
Can we play some Dublin, I wonder? Witch.
It's one of the greatest horror soundtracks. I really like that. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of Goblin stuff is I really like Deep Red as well, but the particular work on Dawn of the Dead on the Argento cut, and I really like Suspiria. I think I put it up there with Precinct 13, and I think it's a brilliant soundtrack. It's so original, and there's never quite been a soundtrack like it since.
oh, cool.
Interesting band, Goblin, and it was he just went to the university and found a band, didn't he? It was like, oh, you guys are doing kind of jazz fusion. That's interesting. You want to come and do some soundtracks? They're like, okay, that sounds good. And they start off this 20-year partnership with Claudio Simonetti, and it's fantastic.
I'm going to play some for Ciaran here now, so.
Oh, nice.
We'll get an idea. So, Ciaran, this is a little education for you.
Oh, okay.
Contamination of Suspiria.
Every day is a school day, you know.
Yeah.
Nice sound to it, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. It is. It's
Back from the original Suspiria. When the main character, Susie Banyan, leaves the airport.
I'm digging it.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of...
Our main character, Susie Banyan. I love that voiceover at the beginning of the film.
They're Dublin are the Italian Pink Floyd. That's the way I describe them.
See, that's what I mean. But Guadagnino got that. He really got that in the remake.
Yes.
Argento was all about telling you a story.
Yes.
When you sit down and watch an Argento film, he's telling you a story. Sit in that chair for the next hour and a half. I'm gonna tell you a haunting fairy tale. That's what his movies are like. And he nailed that in the remake. He did. He nailed it just with a sense of time and giving you a sense of place and the mythos of it. But at the same time, I don't think it's a great film. I think it's a good film. I didn't agree with everybody who thought it was great. But pardon me again. But sorry. I know I get to talking too much. I love all that stuff. I really do.
No,
you're fine.
It is a good
Please
film.
talk more because I ain't going to be able to fill in, you know.
No, it is a good film.
You're the expert on these topics, buddy.
Well, not so much on this one because I didn't really like it as much as everybody else did. But I did see that the filmmaker respected the original.
Yeah,
I did, and I think that goes a long way. And I think that's why it works because he obviously respected Dario Argento's work, and a lot of the time they don't. The end. That's why some remakes work and some don't, because the remake directors don't respect the material.
Yes.
Or the fans.
Let's go. Let's go.
That's it. So we've got those two questions crossed off the list.
Yes.
That's it.
Now, on to a different topic.
Refine Solitude is your virtual drinking partner there. He says he's going for another refill as well.
Mine's a tequila.
I said you got one for me, but you didn't.
Oh, I've got it here.
You left me hanging here as well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's been so many remakes, you know yourself, and some good, some bad, some not so terrible, and some,
Well, I
you know,
did want to bring up Candyman because it was one of the biggest disappointments I ever had. Because Jordan Peele was involved, and I
yes.
thought after the trailers that we got of the Candyman story, kind of told in kabuki theater style with the puppets, I
Mm,
was like, yes, this is Peele. He understands this material. And they gave it to a director. I can't remember her name, but she totally did not understand the material at all. And it was a really awful remake or a reboot. But you have to tie it in with the mythos because they had Tony Todd in there as Candyman towards the end,
yes, that's right.
which was the best bit of the movie. It was
You
the
think,
scariest bit of the movie. It was the best bit of the movie. But you'll have to forgive me because I'm paraphrasing, and I really hope this doesn't offend anyone who likes it or the director herself if she ever hears this. But she was in an interview talking about the opening scene by Bernard Rose, where he does a helicopter shot over the city. And you've got this beautiful Philip Glass score playing, which is one of my favorite horror scores. It's a beautiful, beautiful piano piece, and the da 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 dun 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 da 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 da, beautiful fairy tale like, much like Barker's Tale, right?
yeah,
Totally nails the material. I think Bernard Rose understood not the Hellbound Heart, the story, understood Barker's kind of vibe that he wanted to get from the screenplay. Did Barker write the screenplay? I think he did, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I can't remember if he did, but anyway, he nailed the Clive Barker vibe. I've read a lot of Barker's books. He nailed the vibe. So it starts off this beautiful helicopter shot going over the city. And I was watching I don't do this anymore
No,
because
Bernard Rose did. Sorry.
Bernard Rose wrote the script. Well, he understood it. He understood the Clive Barker vibe, I think. And anyway, so I'm watching the when you get radio spots and things and like kind of 2-minute making hours with the director talking. And the director says, okay. So I wanted to be homage to the original, but anyone can do a helicopter shot now. So I thought, well, anybody can do that. So I'm going to flip the camera around and have the camera looking up at the sky, floating on the ground of the city, looking up. And I thought, you've totally missed the point of that. The point of that is not that it's a helicopter shot. It's leading you into this myth. And it's perfect,
Yeah.
It's the music mixed with the shot. It's not that that's a helicopter shot and anybody could do it and it was clever. It's the fact that that works for the story and it's the perfect opening for Candyman. It shows you the tower block, shows you Cabrini Green, the title slide in between the buildings, shows you the whole character of the film, the setting. That director totally misunderstood the opening of that
Yeah,
film
and shows that Candyman is everywhere.
Exactly. It's a myth. It's creating a new American myth.
Yes.
Even though Barker's from Liverpool, but he's lived in America most of his life now.
Yes.
But I was just like, man, that director totally missed the point of that shot. It wasn't trying to be clever. It was right for the film, right for the story, and it was like, it's not being clever. You're the one being clever, flipping the camera upside down and filming the buildings the wrong way around. Do you know what I mean? And it really upset us that. And I think that colored my interpretation of the film because when I went to see it, I colored my enjoyment of the film, I should say, because when I went to see it, it was like, oh man, I just didn't get what I was expecting. It was one of the biggest disappointments I ever had as a reboot, I guess that was. And it didn't work. The audiences didn't like it either because it didn't get a sequel or anything, right? It was, I think they had a TV series in mind that got kind of sidelined after that because it flopped. But the best moments of Candyman, that remake of Candyman, were when you saw him floating in the new buildings at the end in Cabrini Green.
Yeah.
And it worked because that was Candyman. That was Tony Todd. And for that scene, I give the director credit. They understood the Candyman mythos. They understood that he's ever present. They understood that he was there to infect you, And it was that was good. But man, I knew after that interview, I was just like, this director's totally not right for Candyman.
Yeah,
and because they didn't understand, Bernard Rose really understood it. And that was for me one of the biggest disappointments of a reboot I ever had. It was I have gone back again and watched it, and I liked it better the second time because I wasn't as angry that I think the director didn't understand the story and Peele hadn't picked the right person for the story. But it was just the biggest disappointment that I ever had for a reboot. It was someone who didn't understand the material at all, I thought, and wasn't bothered that somebody had made a masterpiece. You know, they were like, "Oh well, I can do whatever. I can do better than that." It was like, are you kidding? You need to pay lip service, not lip service, but you need to pay service to this filmmaker because they made an epic film that just burnt itself into culture. You know, and that's the point about the culture that I wanted to bring up that I mentioned in the beginning. It's about making films for different cultures. I think remakes, different cultures, different generations. And maybe I'm not of that culture or that generation. I didn't understand that film, but neither did the rest of the audience.
Just reading this.
Mic drop.
Huge comment there. The scene where he witnesses the murder, held back
Huge
by,
window.
huge window in the bird with the crystal plumage. Clearly was nicked by Lucas for Star Wars Episode 1 when Neeson is fighting the Sith. Yes, agree 100%.
I mean, Lucas and those guys understand. They'd watched all these movies, hadn't they? I mean, they were growing up then. And I mean, I know that he loves. He cast Christopher Lee, didn't he? He must be a big horror fan. He cast him as Count Dooku.
Yeah,
was it Dooku?
Yeah,
Christopher Lee.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think the similar to Carpenter, who I love. You know, he wanted Christopher Lee for Loomis first, and then Peter Cushing, but couldn't get him. And then I think it was a producer suggested Pleasance.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Lucas will have seen it.
So you're clearly very pro 1992 Candyman then, rather than the latest.
Yeah, I do. I like Candyman 2 as well. I think Candyman 2 is a great sequel.
Have you seen
right?
Farewell to the Flash? Here?
Yeah.
Have you seen anything here?
I've seen the 92 one, yeah, I remember a while back. Yeah, it was very good, yeah.
Well, the sequel by Bill Condon.
But it's from the Clive Barker's, was it the Books of Blood or something collection that he done that was part of that,
Yeah. Books of Blood, that's right.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I remember it was the big thing was about if you said it 3 times and looked in the mirror or something, wasn't it? It was,
myths.
it would appear.
It's making a new American myth. I mean, it really did. You know, I mean, Candyman was after Myers, was after Freddy, was after Jason. And for me, I was getting a bit bored with all these slashes. And then Candyman comes along, and Children of the Corn a few years earlier, I think, really helped.
That's right. Yeah, that's a freak out film.
But Candyman was just like bang. It was like so much better than I mean, it is. I think it's a masterpiece. Bernard Rose's Candyman. I really do.
I think what gives it its a kick is because it's urban.
Oh, totally.
You know,
totally.
It's an urban setting. And it's kind of like the state Cabrini Green is somewhere you don't go to.
Yeah.
You know, it's off the tracks. It's
a projects.
Yeah, it's a white woman going to the projects. Yeah,
exactly. It's and this is coming out at the same time as Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, and you know, it was totally. It just nailed it. It was brilliant.
The actor from the 92 Candyman, the actor, you know, the black guy, he
Tony
appears
Todd.
in Final Destination there as well, doesn't he? There
is he Death? He is, I think, isn't he, in the Final Destination ones?
So, yeah.
It was a nice little nod in the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was his last performance.
That was very good, yeah.
But man, it was everything about that film. Just, I mean, talking about the language of cinema, Bernard Rose understands it in Candyman. He's got that great score. He makes it gothic but modern at the same time. Yeah. You know, I mean, and that's what I mean. I love that about Near Dark. I know we'll mention Near Dark as well, but this is getting away from remakes and reboots. But I love movies that do that well, like George Romero's Martin, for example, that updated, you know, Dracula for late 70s Braddock in Pennsylvania. It was when films get it right, and Candyman got it right, and I don't know what the director of the remake was thinking. It was like it just seemed like someone who didn't have the finger on the pulse of any kind of culture or any kind of, you know, relationship with the original, and it was just one of those movies that was a big disappointment, as I've said. Sorry, I know I keep repeating.
You would nearly think that Hollywood was just churning out films that they didn't have to go into the creative juices anymore.
That's what,
you know.
Yeah, I was going to say. Speaking of Romero, what was your take, John, on the Night of the Living Dead remake?
Oh, it's brilliant. Night of the Living Dead, 1990.
Yeah.
Directed by Tom Savini. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, it's It's different, I think, because Savini and Romero were friends,
Hmm.
and I mean lifelong friends. Savini, from what I understand from the books, he met him when he was at high school. He actually auditioned to be in The Wine of the Fawn, which was a movie that Romero tried to make before Night of the Living Dead. And but then Savini had to go off to Vietnam because he was a combat photographer in Vietnam, so he got drafted. But then he came back and he said, I was kind of flipping my portfolio in front of Romero's face, saying, "Look, I can do." And he ended up doing special effects on his films and special makeup effects, which are brilliant. That Savini's a hero of mine, as is Romero. But I mean, I think he was paying his friend service there as well, and he understood that Savini 100% understood that he was remaking a modern masterpiece and a piece of cult film history. And he also did Romero service in the fact that he made Barbara strong. And Romero always regretted the fact he made Barbara kind of screaming, one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
He didn't really give her any kind of strengths. She was just a catatonic, blonde girl from the beginning of the film. And he always kind of regretted he'd written a stereotype like that of horror. And Savini gave him Barbara by Patricia Tallman's Barbara. Kicks ass, man. And she's the one that understands we can't stay here. It's a great film. Tom Towles, Tony Todd again as Ben. It's just cast is perfect.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a difference with that because I think Savini and Romero knew each other. Romero wrote the soundtrack, wrote the screenplay for the 1990 remake as well because he was writing screenplays for Laurel and Rubinstein and all them at the time. He wrote, I think he wrote Creepshow 2, and he also wrote Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Yeah. And he was kind of writing and still working with the old Laurel guys and his old group, but he was also off in Hollywood doing Monkey Shines and Dark Off at that point.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot to do with the fact that he wrote the screenplay, so a person who was involved with it, but also the fact that Savini and Romero understood each other because they'd been friends working together and colleagues working together since the early 70s. I mean, Savini's in Martin as well as doing the special effects. He's in Night Riders, he's in Dawn of the Dead as well as doing the special effects. He's those are two people I admire more than most. I really enjoy that friendship, the camaraderie that they had with each other. And I think they spurred each other along, Savini and Romero, and I admire that. A partnership like that must be something I dream of. I know. I mean, I've got that with a writer, Paul Stone, I'm working with at the moment doing short films. We've kind of got this, we're working together, but we've also got a friendship and we kind of understand each other. And it's on a much smaller scale, obviously. We're not making Dawn of the Dead, but
why not?
I know. But it must have been amazing that. And I think that's why Night of the Living Dead 90 works, because those two men understood each other. They were friends for a long time, not just friends, colleagues with respect. And I think it comes back to that respect issue again. If you respect the original, more than likely you'll do its service and make a decent film.
That's fair, I think.
But yeah, I love it. I also like Night of the Animated Dead, which is a film not many people like, which is an animation version of the film that was done in about 2008, I think it was, with Josh.
I've heard of that.
The voices. I really had to, a lot of people hated it because the animation's quite clunky. But I like the story so much. I quite enjoy all the different remakes and reimagines. I love Night of the Reanimated Dead with Sid Haig pops up. And that one, there's loads of different Night of the Living Dead remakes which I like. For different reasons. Savini pops up in Children of the Living Dead. It's like that's a whole stream talking about those guys. I love those guys. It's just like independent cinema to the max. They're just. But yeah, I love the many remakes of Night of the Living Dead. Actually, I've watched quite a few.
I'll be back on in a while, guys. I'll chat these in a while, okay?
Okay, yep, Ciaran. In a little bit.
No worries. Yeah. You're still with us, Solitude? What are you any take on those remakes or the original?
Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
It's different. It is. It was just like I say. It was respect. I think it came down to respect that movie, and it works so well, and the fans love that too. And that's the thing with fans, man. My favorite, or one of my favorite remakes, is The Crazies. That was remade in 2008. It must have been 2006, around that time, because Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn kind of hit the roof.
Yeah, I think it was shortly after 2010.
It was
2010, I think.
And that was 2004. So there was a lot of kind of interesting stuff then. And they were made the Crazies quite soon after, a couple of years after, as you see.
Yeah.
And it was Brad. I need to get the director's name because I want to give service to this director because they did a great job. 2010, Breck Eisner adapted this in 2010. Breck Eisner. I want to say that name again, Breck Eisner, because they totally understood the original. Totally understood Romero has a cult film base of nerds like me, who've tried to read everything, try to watch everything, love the guy. I mean, he put Lynn.
It doesn't work.
I mean, to the fact he put Lynn Lowry in there and a little cameo where she rides a bike down the street, who was in the original. It's just, but Eisner also had his own modern message to put into the film about technology, about people watching each other via satellite, about how there's no privacy anymore. It was like, it's a great, great film in its own right, the Crazies remake. But it wouldn't exist without the Crazies from 73. And the Crazy Romero 73 is one of my favorite Romero films. So I say this as a Romero fan, a big Romero fan. I've actually got a framed picture of him up there behind us, Night of the Living Dead and shit. But Eisner just nailed it. It was like that. In my opinion, it's one of the best remakes of all time. Because it is a remake, it's not a reboot. But the director understood they were paying service to this story by a cult film director. Yeah. And similar to actually what Solitude said about bringing up Alvarez's version of Evil Dead. They understood they were remaking a cult classic. But they also give it a bit of their own kick-ass style. And Eisner did that, and I love the Crazies. I think it's one of Oliphant's best roles. I think it's one of Roddy Mitchell's best roles. It is just an excellent movie from beginning to end. Not a second of screen time is wasted. It's all about story, all about the horror, all about the visceral impact of these people need to get out of this infected area, just like Romero's original was. It's got the urgency of Romero's original, but in a much more refined Hollywood style, Yeah. It's got this beautiful cinematography that shoots the highways and byways and car washes and garages and the places. It's just beautiful looking movie. The monsters, the beasts, the infected people, they're not zombies. They're infected. They've got this just enough. Their eyes turn. They get this kind of little green glow. Their veins pop out a bit. Perfect. Not too much. Not too little. It's a bit like The Thing. They try to make it practical. And there is a few instances where they use special effects. There's a big explosion in the film, a nuclear bomb. But man, Eisner just nailed it. Really. It's if anyone hasn't seen it out there in Castland, it's great. It's streaming land, I should say. It's great. It does fan service enough, but it makes its own thing. And I'll look out for what Eisner might do, because I really appreciated the fact that that filmmaker understood they were remaking a cult classic, and they made a brilliant film because of it. And I think it's the fact that they respected the original that they made it. And I think it's, like I say, talking about Candyman, I think it comes down to respect a lot of the time. I mean, that filmmaker could have thought, well, I'm remaking some crappy low-budget B movie from the 70s, Let's do it big. Let's do it like this. But they didn't. It's really great. Solitude, I'm pretty sure there's a decent version of the Crazies 2010 on YouTube. At least I was thinking about doing a watch-along of the Crazies, Romero's Crazies. And I'm pretty sure... Oh, there you go. Carrie's already there.
Yep.
But it's just, I mean, I've baked it up a lot, Solitude, so I hope you like it. But just,
it is good.
But just sit back and enjoy it as an infected people movie, and it's really good. There's a little bit of message in there, but I think it's a great horror movie. The kind of horror movie that was made for a kind of a horror movie fan like me. I really enjoyed it. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think when you watch it.
Or let us know in the comments. Yep. When you go. But it is on par with the original for sure, and it's its own story. It's not the same technically, but it is similar meanings and similar. It's ambience.
I mean, some ideas and themes transcend time, because we're all worried about nuclear warfare. We're all worried about bombs. We're constantly worried about that kind of stuff. And Eisner put that in the modern one, but it's still a concern that they had back in 73.
Yes.
And they just transferred those human emotions about the need of that. There's a family element in there that's in the original too, you know, and the need for people to be. It's just, but it's a lot to do with the performances, though, because Timothy Olyphant. I mean, I know he did Justified, and that's an epic show, and he was in Scream and the Scream franchise and Perfect Getaway and all these great films. But man, I love his performance in this. He's just. It's similar to there was a performance that Brad Pitt did in like World War Z that never really got enough recognition. He's got this great kind of tunnel vision character in it, similar Timothy Olyphant, but he's also a really highly emotional human being, and I just think it's a beautiful performance. Radha Mitchell too. That just anyway, I'll shut up about it because you're going to watch it. But I really hope you like it, and please do let us know because it's. In terms of, I don't think it's a patch on the original. Like I say, it's not because it's Romero and he's probably in my top 5 directors of all time. But I think it's a great horror movie in its own right that pays enough fan service and respect to be, in my opinion, one of the top remakes possibly of all time.
I'd go for that part. There's another film you wanted to mention earlier off stream before we went live.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it. But you mentioned it earlier. I think it's a blaxploitation movie.
Oh yeah, it's behind us. Garner and Hess, or Ganger and Hess.
Ganger and Hess.
Well, yeah, there's 2 different pronunciations. You see Garner and Hess or Ganger and Hess. But that's a film from '73 by Bill Gunn. Now I found that movie because of Night of the Living Dead. It stars Dwayne Jones, who played Ben in Dawn of the Dead, and I fell in love with that movie. So, not in Night of the Living Dead, sorry, yes, it was Ken Foree who played Peter, right? And
yes, Ken Foree, yeah.
But so I was looking for movies that starred the actor or anything to do with Night of the Living Dead, any Romero films, anything. And I found a video of this. It was called Blood Couple, the video that I found that starred Dwayne Jones. It was a video release, actually an American VHS release. It was really hard to find at the time. But anyway, I fell in love with it. It's become one of my all-time favorite movies. It's I made a few notes about it so I could read them if anyone's interested, because it's so it's '73, directed by Bill Gunn, who became a bit of a counterculture hero for his screenplays such as The Landlord, was directed by Hal Ashby in the early '70s. He wrote and directed well over 30 plays that were fantastic. He wrote 2 books all about politics, people, and race in the early '70s. African-American Bill Gunn. And Garner and Hess was chosen by the Cannes Film Festival in the '70s as one of the top 10 movies of the decade, and then it disappeared. Because the low-budget production company who had made it didn't know what to do with it. They'd asked Gunn, who was a theater director at the time, to make a low-budget version of Blackula for black audiences. This is the blaxploitation time in American cinema, when for the first time, kind of cinema owners, filmmakers, studios were realizing that there was a whole new audience with blaxploitation because of Shaft, these kind of movies. There was a whole audience, black audience in America for these kind of films. Tarantino made Jackie Brown as a homage to that whole genre of film. So anyway, this film is magical. I mean, it's so fantastic. But the studio didn't know what to do with it. Very low budget studio, and it died. I found that Blood Couple, which was on a really bad cut down version of VHS. It was like 30 minutes of the movie missing. But in I think it was the early 2010s, it got picked up by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically important because of who Bill Gunn was, the writer and filmmaker. And it finally got a release on DVD, which I bought, and it was fantastic. I mean, that was like 30 minutes of footage I'd never seen. And it's just this beautiful film about the darkness of the soul. It's about religious redemption. It's about belief. There's kind of a Macbeth story in there. It's also about African-American culture, obviously, being a blaxploitation film aimed at a black audience by Bill Gunn. And it's experimental in the best possible way a movie can be experimental. Bill Gunn, he experiments with angles, with editing. This is early 70s, so you've got all this kind of stuff, the new dawn of filmmakers, the new, the filmmaker as auteur. And he makes this bittersweet, emotional, beautiful piece about race, religion, everything, man. And it disappeared. But finally we got it back in the early 2010s. And it's classed as a piece of film history now. It gets taught in some schools in America. I got in touch with I've got a book I've tried to get in touch with. I bought a book by an academic in the States, and I'm trying to get in touch with them about it because it's a film I love so much. I'd love to talk to them about it. But it gets studied now. There's actually been academic texts written about this book and how book about this film and how culturally important it is. So it gets a remake, right? The Sweet Blood of Jesus in 2014, and this is listed as a horror comedy by IMDb, which I think is its first mistake. So Gunn died in 1989. This film came out in 2014, and so this is directed by Spike Lee, the remake, The Sweet Blood of Jesus. I think that's kind of the first mistake of the film. This isn't Gunn's film at all. This is Lee's remake. Lee obviously being an African-American director himself, so perfect choice.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really update it as well as I thought he was going to. I was really, really excited when this movie came out. It's actually very hard to find now. I was thinking I actually have a copy I managed to find from Columbia, I think it was, like a Blu-ray. So I was thinking if I might burn it and put it up online somewhere because I think it's a really great film and it needs to be seen. But in terms of a remake, it's not the best remake in the world. It's so Hollywood that it kind of misses the whole experimental fact that works in Bill Gunn's film. And Bill Gunn's film is experimental in the best way that it immerses you in the film by being different, by having the camera in different places. So, for example, there's a scene which it's almost shot documentary style. It is shot documentary style, where there's a priest giving a sermon in the church, and there's a vampire sitting in the church and listening to this guy. So that the story is a philosopher, teacher gets turned into a vampire because he has this ancient dagger, or he gets a thirst for blood, I should say. He gets an addiction for blood. Updating Dracula for a modern audience, as this was supposed to be a low-budget version of Blackula. But he gets an ancient African-American dagger. There's blood on the tip. He cuts himself with it. He gets infected. He gets this need for blood, and that's much more what Lee's film is about. He makes it a modern African-American Dracula, much more than Gunn did. Gunn's film is much more spiritual than Lee's film is. And I think that might be to do with the fact that Spike Lee is although his roots are totally steeped in low budget with She's Gotta Have It, which is a remake I want to talk about too, because he remade his own movie, as Hitchcock did. With that, he remade it as a TV series in 2017, She's Gotta Have It. She's Gotta Have It's a brilliant film. I think it's as culturally important as Gandra and Hess is. But it does look incredible, Lee's film, because he's using modern digital technology. And it's a beautiful looking piece of art house cinema, but it looks like a Hollywood director trying to make a piece of art house cinema.
Okay.
And I think he tried to replicate Gunn's style too much instead of just going with his totally Hollywood flamboyant, let's go for it style, like in Malcolm X and School Days. And, he's got that great Hollywood look, to his movies. He does. Spike Lee's a fantastic director. But he tried to go too low budget with this and too low down. I think he tried to replicate Gunn's film too much. But he also did have a history of remakes, because he remakes Park Chan-wook's film Old Boy in 2013. And he's remaking that for an American audience, right? And now he's done the same thing, which I haven't seen yet, with Kurosawa, Highest to Lowest. And I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I haven't heard the best reviews about Highest to Lowest. And I mean this not to be any blip on Spike Lee's career at all, because without Spike Lee, She's Gotta Have It, there wouldn't be a Boneyard Cinema. See, Kerry's just changed my name there on the thing. There wouldn't be. But I just wanted to say this about these films because they're very important to me. Gandra and Hess is a very important film to me. And it's the most important film to me that's had a remake. And I was disappointed in the remake, The Sweet Blood of Jesus. But I tell anyone out there who's interested, go and see it, because it's one of Spike Lee's best movies. But what he did is he tried to recreate the low budget feel of Gunn's film too much. And I think he was thinking, Gunn did it, I can do it. But Gunn's a very different filmmaker. I think if Spike Lee had treated this with his usual flamboyant, beautiful Hollywood style, I mean the style of, the Five Bloods, or that beautiful style he has, it would have worked better. But I still say it's one of his best films.
Mm.
So if you're a fan of remakes and reboots, this is a remake. Gandry and Hess, 1973. It's up there. It's up there with 3 Days of the Condor. It's up there with my favorite films of all time. It really is. Beautiful film. Check it out immediately if you're a film fan. And then if you're interested, check out The Sweet Blood of Jesus, 2014 by Spike Lee, because it's a lovely compliment to Bill Gunn's film by a modern director. But there's also a lot of mistakes in it. There is. I think the mistake was trying to recreate that experimental feel or that low budget feel that Gunn had. But that was because of Gunn's circumstances, budget, and time. And I think Lee, obviously being Spike Lee, in my opinion, one of the greatest directors still working today, could have used his place to just lift it a little bit more. And that's my 5 cents on Gandry and Hess and The Sweet Blood of Jesus. But because I was excited when you said you wanted to talk about remakes, because Gandry and Hess, obviously the posters behind us, whenever I stream, it's a very important film to me. And that was the most important remake in terms of remakes ever in my film history, my film learning. And I learned a lot from it. And I learned that you should never try to imitate. You should always have your own original voice no matter what you do.
Yeah, that's fair. I haven't seen either of them, but I do like Spike Lee.
I recommend them both. I really do. Is that because I've been going on a rant there? It's Boneyard Cinema. In case anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm called Boneyard Cinema. But Kerry has just affectionately changed my name to Boneyard Cinema on the bottom of my screen there.
Okay. Slight detour.
All right.
But trivia. Right. Which film was initially a remake, but is now part of the canon of a series of films?
Was a remake, but it's now canon.
Yes. In a series of films. And I agree with Solitude. You should make a film about.
Oh, thanks, Solitude. I really appreciate it. I'm very passionate about it. I am, but there's a couple of videos on my channel that there was a few that I was frightened to do. Day of the Dead was one by Romero. There was a one by Ingmar Bergman called Summer with Monica. I was frightened to talk about them because they mean so much to us. Assault on Precinct 13 was another. Solaris by Tarkovsky was another one. They mean so much to me that I was frightened to make a video about them because I don't want to do them a disservice. I know that sounds silly, but because Gandry and Hess has just meant that much to us throughout the years since I was a young film fan. It really, affected my whole cinema history. It affected the way I make films today. It affected the way I see films. It's Jay Scary. That's my channel there, Boneyard Cinema.
Yep.
But it was. I will do. Thanks. I will do. I'll take both your advice, Solitude and Kerry. I will. I'll make a video on it. I will. It's but it's just means so much to us. I was frightened in case I would do it a disservice. That's all. I have. When I was reading that book by the academic in the States, I was thinking there's so much good stuff in here I could put into a video, but I'd like to talk to them first, about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But thanks for that. I appreciate it. Obviously, you can tell my passion about it.
Yes, of course.
It's,
that's very obvious.
Very, very important film in my film education and one of my all-time favorite movies.
Cool. So, any thoughts on any answers coming to your head?
So a film that was originally a remake, but now it's canon. Death Wish 2?
No.
Evil Dead 2?
No. We're not going to talk about this movie, I know, but just a little bit of trivia or a little bit of see if you know your films. But I know you do, but it's film, I know.
I don't know what's it. Can you give us a clue? Or would it totally blow the question?
Okay, the first film in the series came out in 1984. The last film in the series, well, the most recent film in the series came out in 2025.
Scream?
No.
No?
That was 96.
Oh, 96, right. That's an interesting one because
It is.
now the fact
I'm
that
not a fan, admittedly, but Ciaran is.
I mean, now the fact that they're just starting to name films after the first film,
Mm,
they're not calling them sequels or prequels or anything.
yeah,
There's Scream '96, and then there's
yes,
Scream 2021. There's
yes,
Halloween '78, Halloween 2018. You know,
yes.
they're not even giving them names anymore.
Nope, that's it.
But this is interesting. I really want to know now. You'll
Mm.
just have to tell us because we'll be sitting in silence while my brain tweaks.
Okay, I'll give you I'll give you a massive clue. I'll give you
Yeah.
a massive clue.
Karate Kid.
Yes,
that was wax on, wax off.
yes.
I thought it was.
Because
So the Jackie Chan remake is that
yeah,
the one? Right.
yeah, that's right. Yep, 2010. Yep.
That was Jackie Chan with Will Smith's son, wasn't it?
Jaden.
Yes.
Yep.
Jaden, yes.
And Jackie Chan is playing the same character in the Karate Kid Legends.
Ah, that's an interesting one.
Hmm.
Karate Kid's a good franchise. I like Hilary
It
Swank.
is, yes.
In,
One of my favorites, to be honest with you.
so she's in Karate Kid 3, right?
Who?
Hilary Swank was Karate Kid
Fourth
3.
one, the fourth one.
Fourth one. I really
Yeah.
enjoy that. I really enjoy Karate Kid.
The next Karate Kid.
The next Karate Kid. I thought that was great. I really do like Karate Kid 1 and 2, but I wasn't such a fan of the third one. But yeah, that was a good series. And that's interesting, that. So that was remade when? And so Legends, I take it, is coming out as a result of...
It's been out. It's out in
All right.
certain DVDs soon. So
is that as a result of the TV series, kind of?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Cobra Kai TV series, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't such a fan of Cobra Kai.
Because I forgot who Johnny Lawrence character who plays him. There's a scene at the very end of Legends when him and Rob Macchio.
All right.
You know, are talking. They're friends now from the series or TV series.
Yes, I did watch it all, but I wasn't such a. I mean, it was more nostalgia than anything else.
Yes,
which is another thing that, like I say, I am the audience who these remakes and reboots are aimed at. I mean, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan because I mean, I was coming of age, like I say, with Gus Van Sant and stuff we were talking about before. Kevin Smith kind of got wrapped up in the Sundance thing, coming back to Robert Redford's death, brilliant visionary of cinema with Sundance. Kevin Smith takes Clerks there, kicks off in '94, and he builds this whole franchise. Yep. And then he starts rebooting his own films.
Yeah,
it's like it's so interesting.
Universe, and then he remakes the first one in Clerks 3.
Exactly, it was brilliant. I mean, that was Clerks 3. I was crying my eyes out. I mean, we're doing spoilers with this.
Yeah.
So one of the main characters in Clerks dies in Clerks 3.
Yes.
And obviously, if you're a Smith fan, you'll know that he had a widow make a heart attack.
That's right.
Which 99% of people die from. I think it was 90% of people die from. And it made him change his life. You know, he started losing all the weight and things. And he thought, geez, if I died, Yoga Hoses would have been my last film. And then he made Clerks 3, and it's the movie that he wanted to make. And it's such a heartfelt, beautiful film. And the fact that he kind of reboots it by showing you how he made Clerks.
That's right, yes.
In it. Is just it's beautiful. It's
not quite breaking the fourth wall, but it's almost.
I think Clerks 3 is really brilliant. Like, I mean, similar to what I'm saying about Van Sant. He's been one of those directors that has really inspired me throughout my life. You know, Chasing Amy is really awesome, and it was just 100% off topic. But I really enjoyed Tremors with Kevin Bacon. Yes, it is. And there's been how many? There's been how many of those now? Five.
Seven.
And I love the fact they took that great character, the Nutter, the one. I can't remember the actor's name now. He pops up in loads of comedies. So he was the main guy in Tremors 3. It's like the guy who owns the gun store, and him and his wife are ready for the apocalypse.
Yeah,
and man, such an awesome character. That was a great way to take the franchise to follow.
That was Dick Miller.
Yes, Dick Miller really kept his interest in Dick Miller in that. But it was I'm gonna find the actor's name because I really love the character that he played in Tremors, and it was great that
the actor's Dick Miller. And
it was great that he was in the series throughout it. It was so good. So it was Michael Gross playing Bert Gummer. That's what I'm
Yes.
thinking of.
All right. Sorry. Okay.
It's such an amazing. So Tremors, Tremors 2, Tremors 3, Tremors: A Cold Day in Hell, 2018. It's just a great character, and they chose the right character to continue the series with. It was so good in that movie. But yeah, Dick Miller. Well, he's a Joe Dante mainstay as well, isn't he, Dick Miller?
Yes, big time. Yes.
I love a bit of Dick
And
Miller.
Roger Corman as well.
Oh man, I know. I love all that fact that there's a great documentary about Corman's World, and he said the first film he did with him, Apache Woman, he played a Native American, and he gets killed. And then Corman says to him, okay, do you want to put that cowboy hat on and jump over the other side and play a cowboy? He says, but I've just been killed. He says, oh no, you'll be wearing the hat and stuff. Nobody will see you. And when it was edited together, Dick Miller killed himself in Apache Woman. So he was a cowboy on one side, shot, killed a Native American on the other, and killed himself. If anyone gets a chance, Corman's World, fantastic documentary about filmmaking and just about Corman in general. He's a legend. Legend in my book. But yeah, I love him. I love him. But yeah, Michael Cross, and Bert Gummer was the character. What a great character to carry on a franchise. Totally brilliant.
I just found this, so do you want me to share the link?
But it was a good, yeah, cool. But it was a great. That was a really good kind of 50s B movie made in the 90s. Because, I mean, if that had been made by Corman in the 50s, it would have been a 50s B movie. And the fact that you had Fred Ward in there and these great actors, Kevin Bacon, who I really admire as well. I think Kevin Bacon's a great. I think Stir of Echoes is it's a very underrated horror movie written by Richard Matheson, the book. I remember reading the book, and then they said they were going to do a movie, and I think it was around the early 2000s. And I thought, oh no, they're going to do. I mean, Matheson's Omega Man, I Am Legend, and all that. You know, he's great. It's some fantastic stories. Christopher Reeve and Gene Seymour in Space and Time. That beautiful love story, not a Space and Time. It's
I know what you mean.
Yeah, to be Jerry Goldsmith's score, and that's fantastic.
But made it after the first Superman, I think.
But Matheson's book, Stir of Echoes, was always one of my favorites. And I was thinking, oh no, how are they going to do that? And Bacon nailed it. It was really good. It was kind of its time, like kind of new metal, new rock around that time. A lot of leather pants wearing stuff. And it was a great time, Solitude. It was like that time in the late 90s, early 2000s. There was like a resurgence in remaking the old monster movies. Peter Harms did a great one called The Relic with Tom Sizemore as well. There was loads kind of came, pardon me, it's like a snowball. One after another, and people really got into monster movies again. But it was like, what I loved about it, being a cinema fan, was like these would have been B movies in the 50s or 60s, and now they were getting huge budgets, you know, or at least 8 to 10, 11, 12 million budgets with stuff like Tremors and Lake Placid, which is Bill Pullman, an actor I fell in love with, and While You Were Sleeping, funnily enough, with Sandra Bullock, and I ended up following his career. Just a great actor. I love him in those movies. But it was great. It was a great time for monster movies.
When you say monster movies, you know, obviously we got Dracula, we got Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But what about The Shape of Water and The Creature from the Black Lagoon?
That's a really good one.
You know?
That is a really good one.
Yeah.
Because that was a remake without him telling anybody it was a remake.
Exactly, yeah.
And I was shocked. I was shocked when I went to see obviously Sally Hawkins is great in that. I'm a big fan of Michael what do you call him from Take Shelter?
Michael Recursive?
No, it's he's in Bug, the great William Friedkin film. But he was the evil in that movie. He was so good. But it was it was, I'm trying to find the actor's name just so everyone knows. Michael Shannon.
Oh yeah,
so good in The Shape of Water, so evil, but it was interesting because he never said this is a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah,
and I was shocked when I sat down the pictures. I watched it opening day. Actually, I was in line. I was working in Cambridge at the time, and there was a View Cinema, and it opened, and I was in line opening day. I really wanted to see it, and it was actually a really small screen. I was surprised, but I went in big enough for us to enjoy it. And that was my takeaway. I left thinking that was effing
You can
creature,
say fucking if you want.
creature from the Black Lagoon, and nobody told us.
You don't have to censor stuff, John.
But if since then it's been Del Toro's Pinocchio, it's going to be Del Toro's Frankenstein. But that should have really been Del Toro's Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
It really should have been. And
Welcome back here.
Hi, I guess.
All right, Ciaran, we're just talking about Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay, right. That's an
then
old one.
And then the Oscar-winning Shape of Water.
Ah.
Because in a lot of ways, they're the same movie.
Right.
Sneaky remake.
It was a sneaky remake.
Sneaky,
But I mean,
sneaky.
obviously it's not because it's different beats in that, but it's the same damn beast. It's the same
story.
Yeah, it is.
Just modern audience again.
But it worked really well. That campaign, the Oscar campaign, I really got behind it because everyone was like, "Why shouldn't a horror film win Best Picture?" You know, and it was the Best Picture of that year without doubt. I remember. In fact, I can't remember what the rest of the track was because it was so bad. Shape of Water really was one of the best movies that year. And it was to do with it. Sally Hawkins, you know, I mean, she's just made a new movie with the guys who did Talk to Her, right? Bring Her Back. So that looks really interesting. She's great. She's in one of my favorite Lee films, filmed here in London. The Happy Go Lucky, which is one of my favorite Lee films. It's a great, great film. She's a great actress. And she made The Shape of Water, and you get that again. I keep forgetting these character actor names. The guy who was in not Fish Billy White. The guy who was in The Mudge Boy, and he pops up in Cabin in the Woods. Is the man? What's his name? He was great in The Shape of Water as the neighbor. Sorry for the radio silence for a second. Richard Jenkins. It's Richard Jenkins. Another one. I'm getting older now. My mind's feeling back in the day. I would have reeled these actors' names off like that. I can't drink and drive anymore.
Wikipedia's your friend, John. I keep saying that. Wikipedia's your friend.
But I did love that, and you could call Lake Placid a remake of Alligator, but they were remaking these movies. Not remaking them, but reimagining these monster movies.
Yes, that's the key word, isn't it? It's not a reboot, it's not a remake.
Reimagining.
Yeah.
So you got Coppola's Dracula, you got Branag's Frankenstein.
That's
it's you got Abel Ferrara's Body Snatchers, which if anybody wants to dig on my channel, one of my first videos is about Body Snatchers 1992 by Abel Ferrara, and how much that movie affected me growing up. It was a huge impact on us. But you also had Invasion 1978 with Donald Sutherland and Brooke Adams. You had Invasion 58 with Andrew McCarthy.
That's right.
So
in 78.
And each of those represents a different time in history, right? I mean, everybody thinks the 58 one's about McCarthyism. Everybody thinks the 78 one's about the paranoia of politicians and not knowing who to trust because of Tricky Dicky and all that, heading on. In the 90s, we've got the military force and Abel Ferrara's vision, which is a kind of a repressive force, but also a savior in the end. And it's a really interesting film, Body Snatchers by Abel Ferrara, and one that gets far too overlooked, in my opinion. And I'd recommend anybody who's interested in beautiful horror to check that one out, because it's really got a great theme behind it. And it's also my coming of age film. It was, the main character's played by Gabrielle Anwar, and I was just coming of age at the right time. And it was like that movie hit me as in being, I was the right age, and made me think about leaving home, finding someone to move in with, finding a house. It was just huge impact on me, that movie. Saw it at exactly the right time. And then you've got The Invasion later on with Kidman and Daniel Craig, which is not the greatest one, but it definitely has the paranoia of the time in it, and a lot about drugs and pharmacies and what drugs do with trust, what doctors do with trust. It had its own style, not the best, but definitely had its own style, and I quite liked that one. But my favorite by miles is the original. But that remake, Body Snatchers, 1992, Abel Ferrara, that would be up there with The Crazies, I think, is one of the best remakes of all time. I think it's a really good one. The cinematography by Borean Bazelli, which is incredible. And he went on to be a great Hollywood cinematographer. It looks great. It really does. I have to excuse me for a minute. I'm gonna have to go to the toilet, but
Problem.
I'll be back in a second, I promise. But but just to say, if anyone's out there's listening, Body Snatchers 92, beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful remake. Coming of age story. It really hit me right in the heart.
Cool. So yeah, it's some very interesting topics there tonight.
Yep.
You know your stuff when it comes to the reboots and remakes, but I wouldn't be as well up on a lot of them now, to be honest with you. But sure, we'll do our best.
That's all right. No, I'm just looking here. Something. But no, Refined Solitude. Yeah, exactly. Talking about Freakin'. There's the Exorcist remake. Well, I wouldn't call it a remake. I think it was more of a sequel. If you're talking about Believer, came out a couple of years ago, and then interestingly, there's The Sorcerer, which is a remake of the French film Rages of Fear. It is an amazing film, in my opinion. I'm looking for the Blu-ray of it. I have.
I agree with Solitude there. They said it's 100% off topic, but really enjoyed Tremors with Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
I enjoyed that one. I love that series of films actually.
That's why we got talking about monster films.
Okay, right.
You know, because we're talking about one of the actors. He carried the last three films.
Right.
The guy with the mustache.
Oh yeah, the guy. He was actually the actor that was on Family Ties with Michael J. Fox back in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his. Yeah.
You play the father?
He's the father from that, yeah.
Jeepers, wow.
And he actually, in the first movie, and I think in one or two of the other movies as well, his wife in it was Reba McEntire, the singer, the country singer. That's cool. Some interesting.
You do know some stuff.
Well.
Hey, you're smart. Told you.
I know. No, but I'm tired tonight too, so I'm probably going to go soon as well because I'm very tired.
All right, no problem.
But
no problems.
No, we'll let John come back for a wee while and then I'll go then.
Okay.
But really enjoy doing this and bringing it to you guys out there.
Yep, we like having you and
great to have you on. Great to be on with you. Like,
We're just talking there about Rages of Fear remake, Sorcerer.
Oh, well, I'm talking about great remakes.
Yes.
I mean, that's probably that's. I mean, I know I've said there's a few great ones, but that one is particularly excellent.
I was looking for the Blu-ray there. So.
But Clouseau's it's a masterpiece, and freaking respected Clouseau enough.
Yes.
You know, it's almost like an American's version of a Frenchman's film.
Yes.
But it works. I mean, that's not a disservice to it. It works.
Yep, I 100% agree. And it's just as atmospheric, just as tense.
Well, it's got a lot to do with Tangerine Dream.
Yeah, again, yeah.
Who, in my opinion, are fucking, pardon my language again, some of their soundtracks, Risky Business. You know, I mean, they're amazing. Tangerine Dream. Firestarter, amazing.
Yeah. That's the one that your one is on, isn't it? Your one from, she's a TV presenter now. Drew Barrymore. She was in Firestarter, wasn't she? Yeah.
That's right.
It's my favorite. This is going out on a limb, which as I have a lot tonight, I know. But that's my favorite child performance. I think it's a great, and Mark Lester's Firestarter, I think it's a great child performance. It's one of my favorites.
Didn't she talk out about her experiences on sets and stuff?
Yeah, I read a book. She wrote a book when she was about 16 or 17 about all that stuff.
Well, that's right, yeah.
She's one of the youngest biographers in Hollywood history.
Wow.
I read the book. It was or her book. It was great.
Yeah. I remember seeing her for the first time in Batman Forever, and then she was in Bad Girls as well, the cowgirl one.
The Madeline Stowe.
That's right, yeah. That was some film.
And Madeline Stowe
or
and
the visuals, obviously.
Oh, definitely. But the other actress who was in At Close Range with Sean Penn, Mary Stuart Masterson.
Oh yeah,
She was great in Bad Girls as well. I really remember her from At Close Range, but Bad Girls was awesome. Drew Barrymore's just been one of my favorites forever. It was like Poison Ivy, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't need 3 sequels, but I have the box set. But Poison Ivy.
I used to think is that part of the DC universe, but it obviously isn't. It's a different thing. Yeah.
It's
different.
One of my favorite thrillers of all time. She's so good in that, Drew Barrymore. Sarah Gilbert's in that as well, and Tom Skerritt. It's Ciaran, not Shannon Tweed.
Doherty.
I can't remember her name now, but you'll know a famous TV actress plays the mother. Yeah, it's great.
Shannon Doherty.
Have we talked about The Exorcist yet? Talking about freaking The Exorcist remake, but more interestingly, Sorcery of Wages of Fate, right?
Yeah, I was saying the remake, unless you mean The Exorcist Believer, which was a sequel.
That was out a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting remake of a remake because you get The Exorcist by Paul Schrader, which is Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
The studio hated it. This is Exorcist 4.
Yeah. No, you could say Exorcist 0.5.
It should have just been called Dominion. And then there's Rennie Harlan's Exorcist, which is Exorcist the Beginning.
Yes.
And they are the same movie, but directed by 2 different people.
And slightly different dialogue as well.
Slightly different cast as well. I mean, you have to give it to Rennie Harlan. He did redirect the whole movie. It's not Schrader's movie at all.
Mm.
As I've said a few times tonight, I'm diehard Paul Schrader. And similar to Gus Van Sant with Psycho, I really tried to find the Schrader in Exorcist Dominion.
Mm.
And it was... I'll say this briefly. If you want to check it out, Boneyard Cinema, I made a whole video on this. There's a video on Exorcist Dominion. And it's about what Schrader was trying to do with Dominion. And I think it was admirable. It was an older director trying to work with modern technologies. The CGI wasn't great. Just learning how to use new technology. Everybody's got to learn somehow, right?
Exactly.
So you've got to try and learn. And I think he was trying to learn with it. And I really like Dominion. There's Hitchcock references in there. He does a Hitchcock-style dream sequence, like from Spellbound.
Yep.
It's a very interesting film, I think. And I think it gets... It should get a little more credit, but not too much more credit because it's not a great film by any means. But if anyone's interested in Schrader, I really did try to dig into it with that video and try to find what he was trying to do with it in. And because I admire the guy, you know, and I thought it can't be all bad. I've admired this guy since Taxi Driver when I was a kid, you know. And I wanted to understand him, and so I read all the books, found all the interviews I could, listen to all the commentaries, which luckily enough, they let him do a commentary when they finally released it. And there's so much great information in there about it.
You know how they say about the people that watch The Exorcist, a lot of them went and killed themselves and stuff like that. Is there any scientific truth to all that? Like, has it actually been a trend, like, or whatever, you know?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean... So the case The Exorcist was proved on has been disproved.
Okay.
So I'm a huge fan of Mark Kermode, the UK critic, and The Exorcist is his favorite film. Right. He's actually made documentaries with. He actually produced a documentary called The Devil and Father Remote with Friedkin, and they talked about kind of possession and is it real, is it not, and. I mean, I saw Kermode talking about this recently, and he said that the original case The Exorcist was based on has kind of been disproved. So it was a young boy in Washington, D.C., I think it was, or around that place, because I think that's where William...
It wasn't Georgetown, yeah.
Like, that's where William Peter Blatty went to college, right, and university. Yeah. And but from what I understand, it's kind of been disproved.
Right.
Mount Rainier was the area in Washington.
Oh, I see.
That's an interesting one. Solitude, 12 Monkeys in La Jetée.
Yes.
Because
finally somebody mentioned it and correctly pronounced La Jetée.
So
finally,
I know.
There is a god somewhere.
Well, I always called it the Jetty, being from up north. And when I was a film student, can you imagine the amount of stick I got watching a Chris Marker movie and calling it the Jetty?
Yes.
Everybody was like, it's La Jetée. I was like, no, it's the Jetty. That's what it means in English. and everyone was like, it sounds much better when you say La Jetée. And I was like,
No,
Yeah.
it means here.
I enjoy the 12 Monkeys though.
well, it also means the runway, right? Oh yeah, 12 Monkeys is great.
I don't know,
Well, tell me this: was the series a sequel or a remake or a
Reboot.
spin-off or what was
It
it?
was
Reboot,
kind
was
of a reboot because there was nods to the movie in it.
it? Okay.
Yes.
Definitely
I
nothing to
see.
do with La Jetée. It was a 12 Monkeys
All
TV
right.
series.
Okay.
Yes.
I get
Right.
you.
Yeah. Very, very different than La Jetée. Yes.
Although I did enjoy it, I have to say I did quite enjoy the 12 Monkeys TV series. But I mean, it's an interesting one because you take something totally art house done with still images, and Terry Gilliam, obviously, somebody used to working with still images because he was the animator on Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Yes.
You know, and obviously their movies as well. He did like Life of Brian and Meaning of Life and all that. And so I think
Huge Python fan here.
so. It was interesting to me as a student. Pardon me, sorry, as a film student, to see that he was taking a film made from still images and creating a live action film from it. And it was really interesting, that I thought. And 12 Monkeys obviously became a huge success. And it's interesting to take a filmmaker like Chris Marker, who is known, obviously, for being, I mean, this is like 63 or 62, right, La Jetée? It was 60s, I think.
62.
Yeah, 62. And it's interesting for someone as big as Terry Gilliam, probably, I mean, that was the height of his career. That was just after Brazil. This is coming off Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I think, right?
No, 12 Monkeys was 95, so he'd done Brazil was 85.
Right.
Adventures of Baron Munchausen was Fisher King.
Oh man, The Fisher King! I totally forgot about that movie. That's a beautiful film. I haven't thought about that movie for years. I've totally forgot about The Fisher King. That's Robin Williams, right?
Yeah, and Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff
Yeah,
Bridges,
man.
he
Jeff
sticks
Bridges
out,
kills his wife, doesn't he? And he has to. Yeah, man. Ah, man, that was a beautiful.
And Robin Williams was like,
yeah,
Trump, and what is he? That's the thing.
Aye.
You
It
know?
was it was great. Aye, it was great.
But no, when we did our favorite directors, I should have mentioned Gilliam, but I completely forgot about him.
I'm not sure. Solitude Disaster, wasn't there recently some sort of rendition with Pacino? The Rituals, I believe. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that one.
I don't know either. Sorry.
Right. I'll have to check it out though. Let me make a note of that.
Thoughts on the Terminator reboots and remakes?
That's an interesting one.
Like, there's been so much now at this stage.
Isn't it? That's an interesting one. Because some forgot the kind of whole like premise because a lot of the Terminator movies shouldn't exist because of the time.
That's right. Yeah,
because of the time element, right?
Too much,
the continuity with the timelines. Because there's some movies that in the future John Connor wouldn't exist to send people back because John Connor gets killed in Dark Fate. So but it's at the beginning, right? So
yeah.
But so then the whole movie line shouldn't exist.
Yeah,
because John Connor gets killed before any of this happens. So there wouldn't be a Terminator to send back to kill John Connor. It's like it's crazy. It is.
It's not the after the third film they fucked the things up big time.
Yeah,
but it is a great franchise. I've always enjoyed them.
Yeah,
and I actually really like the third one. A lot of people don't like the third one, but I thought it was a nice concept, the idea that they had with it. Like, you know,
well,
talk to the hand.
Seen in the bar, yeah.
Oh man, I remember seeing that the pictures, and I was just like, "Oh no, what if they turned the Terminator?"
Christiana Loken.
Yeah, she was great. Yeah, she was great. Yeah, it was just as good as Liquid Metal. Well, not just as good as Liquid Metal, but same kind of lines. I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I take that back. Because Liquid Metal is one of my favorite villains.
But
as good, I did enjoy it. Yes, I did enjoy it.
When I watched that in the cinema, I was maybe 4 or 5 of us in cinema in Sligo.
Right.
and it was an afternoon show, and that's why it was so few of us.
Which one?
Rise of the Machines, the third one.
Okay, yeah, 20,
Right.
2023 or 2203.
2003, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to laugh, and I laughed.
I did laugh as well.
Right? When she's going through, the list of names at the beginning, of all the Skynet, or not Skynet, the, John Connor's second command, third in command, blah, blah, blah. And then when she goes to the party,
yeah,
and says William Anderson, right? I had to grimace because that's my dad's name. It was my dad's name.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So I was like, okay. So my dad works for John Connor. Well, that makes sense. No, that's why he's a technophone. But my friends were like, they didn't realize, at the time what was going on in my head.
It does. It does look interesting. I've just looked. It's David Medell. It's The Ritual 2025. Al Pacino, Dan Stevens, and Ashley Greene. So supernatural horror. Two priests, one in crisis with his faith and the other confronting a turbulent past, must overcome their differences to perform a risky exorcism.
Ah, that's what you're about.
Sounds like a story we know, and we know very well. I'll check it out.
Anything Pacino puts his name to will be pretty good, I'd say.
I was just going to say the same thing, Ciaran. I just recently I watched a movie he did where he played Phil Spector with him and Helen Mirren. It was a TV movie for HBO. Absolutely blew me away.
Wow.
It was a great piece of filmmaking for television. It was really, really great. Like, it was just called Spector. Phil Spector. I'll tell you
yes.
It was absolutely great. It was an older one, 2013. But man, what a great piece of television! It's been my favorite Pacino performance I've seen for a while. It reminded us of how great that guy really is. It was such a great film.
Did you like Righteous Kill when him and De Niro got back together for a movie?
Now I've had some distance from it, yes. But at the time, because it was the second time they've been together after Heat, it was a bit like, this isn't Heat, or this doesn't have the intensity of Heat, I should say.
Exactly, yeah.
But
as well.
But I went back and bought the I think it was the DVD shortly after I seen the film, and I've watched it again, and it is a good film. It's okay. It was I did guess the twist in the first 10 minutes though.
Go to the toilet.
All right, cool.
David Mamet film, he says that.
David Mamet. Yep, that's the guy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So David Mamet's, he is one of the greatest writers, I think. He's famous for Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Awesome show.
Spartan with Val Kilmer, that great action movie. Red Belt with Chiwetel Ejiofor, sorry.
All right, yeah.
Which is a really good action movie. Did Things Change? Homicide, man, with William H. Macy and Joe Mantegna. He's done House of Games with Joe Mantegna. This guy, he's the one. His I really loved on stage was Olena. It was I think I've seen about 3 or 4 of his plays on stage, but I Solitude Mamet's so back when I was teaching full time, Ciaran, I used to use Mamet's. So Mamet was a teacher too. He used to teach a class on how to write cinema, and he wrote a book on directing by David Mamet, and I used to use it with my students. He's just such a great writer. He's a practical writer and a very technical writer. He's got very questionable political views.
That's good, yeah.
But
I just want to ask you: did you ever watch the series? I think it's a series on Netflix. It's about a drama teacher. It's the Kaminsky Method. Have you watched that?
I loved it. Yes,
that's class, isn't it?
Yes,
unbelievable.
With Alan Arkin and Michael Douglas.
Oh, I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Oh, and I love the guy from Aliens. Is the hippie boyfriend with a ponytail?
That's right. Yeah.
What's the actor's name? He's great.
He's in a lot of stuff. That guy.
Paul Reiser. Is it Paul Reiser?
Yeah,
Reiser? He was great.
He's in that old 80s movie Diner. He's young in that one.
Man, Mickey Rourke's behind us there as well. I'm a big Mickey Rourke fan. But yeah, Paul Reiser's great in that. Because when I started watching the show, it was kind of off the back of that Grace and Frankie.
Yeah, it's class. Another class show.
With Jane Fonda and Martin Sheen and all them great actors and Sam Waterston and all them.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many. Peter Gallagher pops up in that. It's great show.
Yeah.
But I think that's how Kaminsky Method must have gotten the green light, because that one did so well. So they put another couple of good old actors together.
Alan Arkin, Michael Douglas, great combination in that movie.
And then Paul Reiser pops up, and you get the girl from Rose Red, and So I Married an Axe Murderer.
That's right, yeah.
Gene Seymour was just like,
and then you got, as you say, Nancy Travis,
Nancy Travis, man. I was so like shocked when he's just having a wee, isn't he? And Nancy Travis walks out of the house and says, "Are you just waiting on my bushes?" It was such a. I said, "Whoa, it's Nancy Travis." It was, I really enjoyed those shows. I wish.
Apparently, Douglas is retired now.
Yep.
Yeah, he was saying.
He still had a good bit in him, I'd say, but anyway, I suppose.
Oh man,
he's in his 90s, I think, isn't he? No, late 80s, I know.
Well, he was in just so many movies that like informed my youth. You know, like I mean, he produced One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's I used to love Hill Street Blues with him and was it Carl Malden? And Streets of San Francisco, sorry. Yep, not Hill Street Blues. Hill Street Blues was flipping, what'd you call him? From Psycho 3. We'll get it eventually.
Yes.
But there was so many good shows that popped up at that time, wasn't there? And but Douglas, man, he is a loss. He is. I mean, he did a great HBO movie where he played Liberace.
That's right.
Behind the Candelabra.
I have that. Really good.
HBO have did some great movies, but Douglas was just always when he Basic Instinct. He was always Jewel and the Crown. Remember Jewel and the Crown and Romance on the Stone?
Right,
I loved those movies so much. It was like,
and then
this is
the
another
War of the Roses.
Oh man, War of the Roses. Danny DeVito, man.
Yeah.
Kathleen Turner, and I love that. I so want to watch Romance on the Stone right now. Black Rain, man, with Ridley Scott.
That was an awesome one. Oh, brilliant!
Rain, brilliant. Him and Andy Garcia fighting the
Falling
trial.
Falling Down is
that's not a hamburger.
Yeah.
I love that scene. Sorry, just before I love that scene of Falling Down. I love Chef from Apocalypse Now, Forrest.
No.
Man. But there's a great scene. I'm gonna in Falling Down. There's a great scene where he's the gun store owner, and him and Michael Douglas are talking about buying the gun. It's just so good.
Not Forrest Whitaker, no.
No, he's in the conversation. He worked with Francis Ford Coppola on One from the Heart, and
all right.
Like I say, back in the day, man, I would have blasted these names off, but I'm fucking losing my marbles these days. Frederick Forrest.
Okay.
Frederick Forrest plays this crazy gun owner in Falling Down, and it was because I'd loved Frederick Forrest so much in like One from the Heart and Apocalypse Now, and the conversation pops up in The Rose with Bette Midler. I mean, this guy's he plays a great stoner hippie dad in Nicolas Cage's first movie. It's he's such a great actor. And when he pops up in Falling Down as that crazy gun owner, I was crazy like racist gun owner. And man, he was perfect for the part. And Michael Douglas is just like, what are you talking about? It's such a good scene. It's that was Schumacher as well, right?
What was Falling Down? Yeah,
Falling Down was Joel Schumacher as well. That was, Douglas, man. Yeah, Douglas was he was great. I mean, Romance on the Stone, I guess, must have been off the back of Indiana Jones, right? It must have been.
Had to be,
They must have been thinking Indiana Jones was such a success. Let's do something similar.
See, I often thought that was like a trilogy with them when the three of them were in the movie together, but I don't think they were actually a trilogy. I think it was all separate films, wasn't it? War of the Roses, Romance on the Stone, and the other one.
Yeah, well, it was. I think Douglas and
DeVito.
Douglas and DeVito were producing partners. I think.
Yes.
Right. Because they did both produce Cuckoo's Nest, didn't they?
Yeah, Well, Danny DeVito's in it, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I did not know that. So the Refined Solitude. So I went to see Spinal Tap 2 recently, and Spinal Tap: The End Continues, and I saw the poster for The Roses, and I wondered, pardon me, if that was a remake of War of the Roses. So it is. Then it's a remake. I'm glad now. Glad I know. Cheers. I think I might go and see it on Monday. but because you get 2 for 10 near on Monday at the cinema.
Oh, cool.
But I War the Roses, man. It was that movie affected us when I was a kid. It was like that bit when he reaches out for a hand at the end when the chandelier and she just pushes his hand away. And like so many, and I love that when she drives the monster truck over his Morgan. And I mean, I grew up with a dad who loved vintage cars and rebuilt them, so I'm saying that's a Morgan, just driving this monster truck over the top of his Morgan. Oh, Danny DeVito was perfect, telling you the story and setting the tone. I War the Roses is a dark comedy, as dark as they come, isn't it?
Well, it was the 80s.
No, that's a real dark one.
Yeah.
So
I tend to, when I go and look for films, I tend to, a lot of the times I type in an 80s year or else just the 80s decade and see what comes up, and I end up kind of sticking to that decade a lot. You know, it's I love the 80s stuff.
It was definitely a more stylized time than now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like, and each film kind of had its own individual flavor.
Yeah, they did.
It's
yeah.
like,
you know what I watched? I watched one the other night, and it was. I know you'll probably laugh at this, but I wanted to get an early Michael Keaton movie, so I decided I would go for Night Shift. Have you seen Night Shift?
Is that the Henry Winkler one?
Yeah,
with the funds. Yeah. When he works in the morgue.
We make a morgue into a pimp zone with all the brothel. Well, not a brothel.
But I remember that, and that was great. He gives that.
What are you watching here?
He gives that.
It's not dodgy. Don't worry. It's kind of more comedy. Just
he gives a great speech. There's a lot of love in. There's a lot of love in this room, doesn't he?
That's right.
When he's with all the prostitutes, there's a lot of love in this room. I can feel it.
I'd say it's one of the best.
Was a comedian, wasn't he? At the start, though, Elvis Presley.
I think it's one of his Keaton's best stuff. Like, I didn't even see it before. Like, one time watched it during the week.
He did a great one called Clean and Sober when he's an alcoholic trying to get clean. He did. There's a horror movie he did with. I love Deborah Kara Unger. She's an actress. I always look for movies with her in because I think she's a great actress. And he did a movie called White Noise with her in the early 2000s, where his wife dies, and he thinks he hears her on the radio and sees her in television waves and stuff, and he. I think it was Ian McNeice is this guy, the big guy. He kind of gets with him and he's speaking of the dead. Man, give us chills. I saw that in the pictures, but I went to see it not because of him. I went to see it because of Deborah Kara Unger was in it. No, I think it was 2000.
One of his favorite films. So.
Yeah, and I went to see it, and man, blew us away. It was a great Keaton performance. It was a little bit more it was a clean cut film, very very modern style, no nonsense, shot very straight, like not much contrast and stuff in it, but really great movie. I'd recommend it. Any Keaton fans, I really enjoyed it. But more so for her, because Deborah Kara Unger is one of my favorites. Yeah. She's on my list of favorite actors of all time.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, but a great Keaton movie too.
I haven't heard that.
And is it anything like that one, that Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer one from the early 2000s, What Lies Beneath? Is it? I mix them two up, that White Noise and What Lies Beneath, for some reason.
I think it is, John.
Well, I would say What Lies Beneath is a very...
it's kind of a horror one.
Very, very pessimistic, dark movie about marriage.
Okay, right, okay.
And White Noise is a very positive movie about marriage.
Okay.
But, well, I mean, I don't want to spoil What Lies Beneath for anybody who hasn't seen it. But it was a very interesting choice for Harrison Ford, that movie.
It was.
Right.
And a very interesting choice for Zemeckis to direct. It was, it was
you don't really put Zemeckis in that kind of a.
No, no, you don't do. I mean, you put him with Back to the Future and that, and it was just like, I was interested to see it because I was a Zemeckis fan.
Yeah,
and it was interesting, and I really enjoyed it. And that was a 12, and that scared the pants off everybody. So coming back to RoboCop, what the hell were they thinking? What Lies Beneath was a 12, and that scared everybody, and that was violent and harsh, and what was RoboCop thinking?
Well, that was at 18, so
yeah. No, the remake of RoboCop, Kerry, the remake.
Oh, the remake.
The remake was a 12. You mean that film that didn't exist?
That's why.
That's why. Yes.
It's wiped from my memory. Thankfully. Damn you.
So I mean, so what were the original questions, Gary? What were the two? What were the two we set out the ones?
Okay, let me just check notes here. Right.
Coming back to it.
Are they any good?
Yes. Well, we've answered that.
Yes.
I think
some are good, some aren't so good. Yes.
Some are good and some aren't so good. The ones that are good, we've kind of said have a respect for the originals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And perhaps more importantly, why they're made.
Why
we definitely answered that.
Well, we did talk about different cultural times, different generations.
Yeah.
So to each generation, perhaps the same story needs to be told again, as if we're around a campfire, and somebody gets told a story when they're a kid, and then 20 years later they're the grown up and they tell the kid the story.
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at remakes like that in a positive light, in the way that you get told a story when you're a kid and then you pass it on when you get older. We did it with cave drawings, we did it with books, now we do it with films, and then you pass the stories down. But hopefully the people will just go back and find the originals if they get the chance.
Well,
but I think people always will. I mean, like I do anyway. I mean, cinephiles like us, if we see something we like. I mean, I remember saying, I didn't know this. I love Tony Scott's Man on Fire, right? I think that's one of the best Tony Scott action films.
Yeah.
My favorite Tony Scott movies, I love The Hunger. I love Revenge. I love Days of Thunder. The guy is a master director, as his brother is. But I saw Man on Fire and I fell in love with it, right? So anyway, I'm telling one of my, and this is like 2002, 2003. I'm telling a friend of mine who I buy videos off. Oh man, I love that movie. And to say it. And he was like, that's a remake. And I was like, no. So he points me to Scott Glenn, coming full circle to the Keep. Yep. Scott Glenn's in the original Man on Fire. Playing John Creasy, same character, same story. Much more of an 80s film, really bathed in 80s kind of light. Just as much action. Scott Glenn can nail the action. Not as much budget for big special effects and quick cutting and stuff. It's much more of a kind of 2-shot, medium shot, wide shot movie. Beautiful locations. I think it was Colombia or Bolivia where the shot, it was beautiful looking. It's kind of old mansion in the hills and the forests. Beautiful looking place. Beautiful looking movie. And over the years, I've come to admire the original Man on Fire as much as I love Tony Scott's. But because I saw Tony Scott's first, I think that's a masterpiece, whereas the original is just okay. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I did actually want to bring this up because I remembered that when we were talking about that with Tony Scott and that. It's like, do you think it matters if you see the Thing prequel first, if you see the Evil Dead remake first, if you see the Running Man first before you see Dangerous Game? Do you think it matters?
No. I think you'll appreciate the story being told a different way.
Yes.
Or an original told a certain other way. Like, you get things like oh Jesus, what was the film? Can't think now. Hang on, it'll come to me.
I think nostalgia is a big factor, Yeah.
Oh, totally. Well, like Body Snatchers with me. It's like I mentioned earlier, massive nostalgia for that. I think
film. You see stuff at a very impressionable age, and then it's tried to be remade. Like that happens to me with a lot of the Schwarzenegger ones that were remade and stuff. It's not as easy to adapt to them then,
Well, with Total Recall, you mentioned Schwarzenegger there. Yeah. The original story, We Can Remember For You Wholesale by Philip K. Dick.
Yeah.
It's, it's not, the remake is more accurate to the story.
Well, I mean, I'm a big Philip K. Dick fan, and not to be a spoiler, but he's definitely got no brain left in the short story. No. He's a guy sitting left smiling in a chair with half a brain. He's been lobotomized. I mean, that is totally obvious in Philip K. Dick's story.
Yes.
It is.
But I
love that story. He did, and I think Verhoeven totally thinks the same.
Yeah. Really it fades to white.
I mean, the end of the movie is totally what he tells them he wants. At Recall, it's totally what he tells them.
Fade to white instead of black and.
But I'm a pessimist, not an optimist, so I guess that's probably the end of that.
No, you're not.
That's why I love the end of the Thing. I think I'm a bit like John Carpenter. I'm a bit of a pessimist myself.
So you like Iceland?
God, there's that vein look popping out of my forehead again. It's huge.
He's one of those crazies.
That's all that info rushing,
I totally am
rushing
one
to
of
your
those
mouth.
Dude,
So, I mean, to put it all, I mean,
Great tune, isn't it?
Brad Fidel.
yeah.
You know what it is? Apparently, this might I might be wrong, but I'm sure I heard he played for Hall and Oates.
Wow.
He was like in the live band. Brad Fidel played with
Really?
Hall and Oates, so he's got some roots and some great music. But it's really interesting. He did a great score for, I think it was Just Before Dawn. That brilliant Jeff Lieberman slasher as well. But the Terminator soundtrack, man. Even though we were just like, it gives us chills, even though we were just messing about. It's so good.
I know. It is. It's an amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
He was the keyboardist.
It's an amazing piece of work. Yeah.
I thought I'd read that somewhere.
Yeah. Keyboardist for Hall and Oates.
I can't go for that.
But was he a manager? That's the thing. Was he a manager? I don't think he was. He was a Terminator eater.
He was a Terminator. Sophie, I mean, do you want to go through the best picks? I mean, I've already said I love the Crazies.
Yeah. Let Ciaran go first.
I mean, there's so many more we could do. I mean, I wrote down, I wanted to talk about Christian F., which is like one of my favorite movies of all time by Uli Adele that got remade. And, the remake was for a new generation. And I mean, similar to everything we've just spoke about. It's,
well, I'm gonna hit the hay here shortly. So I'll just say what I think is I personally am a mad Batman fan, right? I love Batman stuff all through the years. So I love the reboots and stuff from Batman. I prefer obviously nostalgia speaking again, but I love the 90s series, 89, 90s series, especially, even though the Dark Knight trilogy is probably some of the best Batman stuff. You can't fight with nostalgia, you know what I mean? I think that was a good remake, or not a remake, but reboot, I suppose, of the Batman franchise. I don't like the new Batman. So, I just don't like it. I can't get myself to like it. You know what I mean?
Batman forever.
But I think Batman Returns is my favorite all-time Batman movie. But no, other than that, the Terminator stuff, the reboots, Terminator, we've talked about that already. Yeah. Probably another there's as well, favorites of mine. Yeah, that's really the top two for me anyway, I'd say.
Okay. Well, I mean, Salvation's it was a very popular movie, Salvation, because it was interesting that they'd reimagined Cameron's version of what the future would look like.
Yes,
because obviously in Terminator 1 and T2, we see that brilliant future with Brad Fidel's soundtrack. We see the opening shot. We see Michael Biehn, driving through in the back of the pickup with a machine gun, and he's down underground and all that.
Yeah,
and Salvation reimagined that a little bit.
Yeah. True.
And I like the way that Salvation reimagined it. And I think Salvation is one of my favorite sequels. Not so much for Christian Bale's performance, because it wasn't the best performance. But I quite like Jay Courtney in that film, playing the Terminator. But I like the way that it reimagined the kind of future that Cameron imagined.
What do you think of the little Schwarzenegger cameo as the prototype Terminator?
You know what it is? It hasn't aged very well.
No,
because it was CGI in the 2010 that or around that time?
2009, yeah.
2009. It hasn't aged the best, but I don't mind it. I really don't. I don't mind it.
It was good to have a little nod to him. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's what I mean. It had respect, I think, Salvation for the franchise. I do.
Yeah.
It tried to do its own thing, but it had that little bit of respect that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it was funny in Genesis when you got to see him coming back to meet the punks at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Genesis personally. No, I thought that was a bit of a letdown. But Dark Fate was okay.
I thought Dark Fate was better than everybody gave it credit for.
Can I ask you, right? Speaking of the Terminator Genesis, right? How do you think that would have followed the next two films if they'd made them? How do you think they would have done the story?
I don't know. It's interesting. It was. I mean,
Because
there
it
was
left it open.
there was a moment in Genesis. I have to say this because it really made us feel something. He's in the helicopter, right?
Hmm.
And he says, "I'll be back," and he jumps out the helicopter. Can you remember that moment
Yep.
in Genesis?
So, yeah.
And I think he
Yeah.
jumps into the blades of the other helicopter to stop it or something.
Jeez, yeah.
And it gave us goosebumps when Arnie said, "I'll be back."
Hmm.
Yeah.
When I was watching it in the pictures in the cinema,
Yeah.
and I thought this film shit, but just for that one moment, I'm glad I came to see it
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Special. Yeah.
and it was like sequels, prequels, and reboots. They're never gonna give you that. Like I say, you're chasing the high of the first film, aren't you?
Hmm.
You're chasing the high of the
Yeah.
nostalgia,
Yeah.
the first
Absolutely. Yeah.
experience. But I'm thankful that Genesis exists just because it gave us that little, oh man, I'll be back. And he jumped out the helicopter. It was like for that minute, I was like, fucking Terminator. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really, and it was like, he's dying to save everybody else. It was like, what it was, but I'm glad Genesis exists just for that one moment when Arnie said, I'll be back and jumped out the helicopter. I know that's silly. I do know that's silly, but it just gave us, I swore again, sorry, but it just gave us that 2 minutes of like pure nostalgia, Ciaran.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
just for him saying I'll be back. And
I do have to
Yeah.
be a bit pedantic here. Jay Courtney was the John Connor's Terminator in Genesis, not Salvation.
sorry, Genesis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that was
Sam
yes,
Worthington was the.
Sam Wilson. I get those two guys mixed up all the time.
They're both Australian, so
I
it
know,
makes sense.
but they both
Yeah.
got famous at the same time, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because Jake Courtney because of Die Hard and Sam Wilson because Avatar.
Yeah.
And they both kind of got famous at the same time. Totally
So
different
being
people.
pedantic, so don't mind
And
us.
if they ever see this, I'm sorry I got these mixed up, lads.
Hashtag Sam Worthington.
Well, guys, I'm going to sound out here now, and thank you very much for
Cheers, Ciaran.
letting me join you again, and thank you anyone that listened in. Nice to chat to you all.
I've had Solitude and Adam in here. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Bye now.
So
Oh my God, it's the Who was now.
So we got Terminator from Ciaran,
Right.
and what was
Crazy and stuff for me.
and what was Kieran's second choice?
Batman.
Batman and Terminator. So they're the most like two successful franchise sequels, prequels, and reboots.
Hmm.
And I've said obviously. So what do you think?
Right.
What are your choices?
Ooh. Oh, this is difficult. This is so difficult.
Dun 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 dun.
Evil Dead, for one. I know we talked about it earlier, but Evil Dead, definitely for one of them.
So all the way through, you're a fan of Rise?
Yeah, actually.
I do love Ash versus Evil Dead. I really do. I think it was was so great to see Campbell again. I mean, Armies of Darkness was. I mean, Armies of Darkness is a perfect film. It's like it's a perfect role for Campbell. I mean, that was at the height of them two working together. That they made that great slapstick movie, but it was slapstick with the horror. M. Beth Davidson. It was a great film. I thought it was like the whole pinnacle, the kind of Three Stooges, Evil Dead style.
Yeah.
I really do love that, and I loved. And I mean, I've traveled to see Bruce Campbell in Comic Cons, and
cool.
It's he's so. I'm a big fan. I've read his book. If Chins Could Kill. I mean, I'm a follower. I've bought his TV movies like Blaze of Glory, and Assault on Dome 4, which is Die Hard in space, Moontrap. I've bought everything I possibly could of, and he's just great in them movies. I think he's great. I mean, I agree with you. They're a great franchise. And Solitude, too. I mean, you brought Evil Dead up for Solitude tonight, which is great.
Yeah.
That's a great remake, a great franchise. It's I wasn't so much a fan of Rise. I thought it was good. I liked the whole bait and switch at the beginning with you thinking it was the Kandarian demons, but it was the drone. That kind of threw us. But it's a great franchise. It is, and
Yeah.
it is a great remake. It really is.
Trying to think now. There's one more I'm gonna pick, but it's going to be a weird one.
And Lee Majors didn't know he was still alive. Solitude just said that. He was in a good remake, Scrooge. Can you remember Scrooge with Bill Murray?
Yes.
Lee Majors just pops up at the beginning.
Yeah, Richard Donner directed. Yeah.
You've been a real good boy this year. When he's talking to Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Lee Majors, biopic.
Okay.
All right.
Best remake, in my opinion. Not the best sequel to it, but one of the best remakes. Can't really, we haven't mentioned them already. DC's The Fly.
Oh, The Fly's good. I mean, it is really good. I think me and you're gonna hate this. I've done a few hot topics tonight, haven't I? But it's not my. It's probably one of my least favorite Cronenberg movies. But a bad David Cronenberg movie is one of the best movies ever made. Do you know what I mean? It is a great remake. It is. It is a great remake. It is. I'm not. I don't want to.
I'm just teasing you.
No.
It
is a good remake. I promise it is. But I mean, I'm a huge Vincent Price fan, so it's like, I mean, huge. I've got pictures of him framed on the living room wall. I love Price that much. But the original Flies, I love the original Fly. But Cronenberg, it's a brilliant film. I mean, it's about cancer, it's about death, it's about dying, it's about disease, it's about a loved one seeing your body disintegrate. Cronenberg's film. Rennie Fly. I'm sure you could type that with your hands falling off.
Fingers, yeah.
So how many times you changed my name tonight? So now I'm Boneyard Cinema, aka Rennie Fly.
Nah, I'll put it back.
No, sorry. No, I like that. Leave it. I'd love to be called Rennie Fly. No, Rennie Fly's great. Oh, man. I like that Rennie Fly.
I'll next time. No, I like The Fly.
No, me too. I do. I love it. John Getz' performance in The Fly is one of my favorite. I love John Getz, an actor I wish had done more. After seeing him in Blood Simple and The Fly, man, I wish he'd done so much more. He's a great actor, and he does pop up every now and again. But he never really got the lead man status.
No, I think
foreign status that he deserved.
He was typecast. He was typecast a lot.
I was.
You know, but no, for me, The Fly, for sure.
It's a great remake. It really is. It's a great remake, reimagining. But it's a director. I think with respect for sci-fi, because the original is a sci-fi. It's not a horror. It's a science fiction film.
Yeah.
But he had respect for it. You could tell. But Cronenberg's got his own thing, and it's similar to what Eisner did for me with The Crazies when he respected it but did his own thing. He did that with William Burroughs. He respected William Burroughs with Naked Lunch, but he did his own thing. He respected Ballard with Crash, but he did his own thing. You know, he respected History of Violence, a graphic novel, but he did his own thing. It's like I like that about Cronenberg. You know, I do. He totally respects what he's doing. And Butterfly, he's got a respect for the original material, man. And it goes a long way. And it takes us back to what I said about Candyman with the director who had no respect for the original. You know, no respect for the material that they're making this work from.
Yeah.
But Cronenberg obviously respected cinema, you know, and respected The Fly's place in it. But I mean, he's just got his own thing going, hasn't he, Cronenberg?
Oh, yeah.
He has. I mean, the Shrouds, I did a video on the Shrouds recently. I'm just trying to, because after I left the cinema, I was trying to put together how I felt about it. So I started watching all the interviews that he'd done about it and pulling apart what he thought it was about and what he told people it was, the themes were. And I've got an admiration for Cronenberg that's higher than most filmmakers because he's a highly original voice still with films like Crimes of the Future and Shrouds. The Shroud was my favorite film I've seen this year. I mean, by a long shot, it was the favorite film I've seen this year. It was fantastic. I thought it's the only film that made us feel something really that visceral and really made us. I was very emotional. I felt sad. I felt scared. It was
autobiographical in many ways.
Yeah, it was great. I thought it was a great film. I did laugh all the way through Spinal Tap 2, though, I have to say. It's I think it's one of the best comedies I've seen for a long time. I really liked it. And all the reviews haven't been good, but man, I really enjoyed it.
See, for me, it's I love Cronenberg.
Me too.
But only one director over him, which I would, consider the best. And that's David Lynch. But that's another stream. A longer maybe. We're hopefully get somebody talking about Lynch sometime. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I guess this is a segue, I guess, to Lynch. But, I mean, you could talk about, Wild at Heart being the journey home.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the Ruby Slippers in there. You've got the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wicked Witch of the East, and
yeah,
I mean that's him kind of remaking his inspirations, or should we say, incorporating his inspirations into his film?
Yeah, I think incorporating would be a better word. Yeah,
but so blatantly. I mean, the Good Witch literally comes down from the sky at the end of Wild at Heart.
Yeah.
And says, "Taylor, you've been a naughty boy. You need to turn around and go." It's I love that scene so much.
Wait for you. She loves you.
She loves you. It's so good. But I guess that's an incorporation of other works more than remakes. Did Lynch ever work on any remakes?
Let's see. Hang on.
I mean, he did a reimagining of Dune, but that was his film version.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an adaptation, not a remake.
No, a lot of his stuff was original. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Hollywood history, to kind of start and sum up to a conclusion, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been made on remakes. I mean, people often get upset, not another remake, not another reimagine, not another reboot. It's like, that's happened since cinema began.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It has.
That's what I think about Star is Born is, one of the oldest.
Exactly. If something's successful, people are going to remake it and reimagine it and do it again and tell the same story, but they'll tell it with their own spin.
That's fair enough, Solitude. Not everybody is a big Lynch fan as me, but he was a very creative force.
So I'm not a big Lynch fan, but when I heard that he died, I was sad. It felt like the world had lost it. The world did lose a creative force. Solitude was, I would say, an inspirational force, because I think, I mean, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but he inspired people indirectly as well, because he was such a creative force. I mean, he was up there with John Waters, doing the midnight doing the midnight movies with the Razorhead, and I mean, he was lumped in with Romero, and so Night of the Living Dead would show with a Razorhead, and it was that's how I got into him actually, because
Jodorowsky as well,
because of that midnight movie type thing. And everyone was saying, if you like Night of the Living Dead, if you like Shivers, if you like this, you'll probably like a Razorhead. And I was like, what's that? And I bought the old 4-front video. This was back in the day. It was a 4-front video of a Razorhead. And man, it blew us away, but it took us a while to like it. It did. It took me a while to get into Lynch, I have to say. I didn't immediately fall in love with his work. But you've nailed it. He was a creative force, and that's what he was. And he inspired people. He inspired me. He did.
To a degree.
I mean, when I made my first film, which I think you've seen now, right, Kerry? The Freedom Room, which you could see for anybody who's interested. And the Freedom Room, if you're a paid member on Boneyard Cinema, you can see some of my short film works. The very first one I made, I tried to work some of Eraserhead in there because he built it in a stable. And I was kind of building the set in like a garage, It was like, so I was doing something similar, a garage. And he inspired us.
Cardboard.
He did. Cardboard, exactly. But Eraserhead really inspired us to go ahead and do it. It was a creative force and inspiration.
Yeah, I think, you see, for me, it was, it was so, I love surrealist art, I know, in general. Like Dali and Moreau and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, me too.
You could see, he wore his influences on his sleeve, but he also had his own voice.
Definitely.
Without going into great detail, because it's going to talk about Lynch in a future stream. Like when he did Twin Peaks, the first series of that, because he wrote with Mark Frost and directed most of the episodes and cast it and all that. But initially, it was a self-contained story, but then that was for us in Europe who had it. We got the whole story, but America got the about 15, 20 minutes off it.
First thing I saw at Twin Peaks was the TV movie. In England, we got the TV movie, which was Bob. Bob was the killer. He was in the basement. They went in and killed him. Yeah, that was it. I mean, that was my first experience of Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
watching that movie. But I was, coming back to remakes and reboots, I guess, and reimaginings. I mean, how many times do you think Lynch has influenced other people? I mean, how many times have people remade or tried to or been influenced by or there's so many. And I mean, there's that side of reboots and remakes as well. You get films that are like last year at Mariam bad, or you get films that are I guess The Wages of Fear we already talked about. Thanks to Find Solitude, it's the best version of that. But I mean, we talked about Del Toro doing Shape of Water. There's films that are indirectly influenced. But do you call them remakes? I mean, like Inglourious Bastards is a really good one. I mean, the opening scene of Inglourious Bastards with the Jews heading under the floor and Christoph Waltz coming in, drinking the milk. That's the opening scene of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I mean, almost shot for shot, except it's soup, it's not milk. And there's nobody hidden under the floor. He's trying to get a name. But it's the same damn scene. And it was just like, is that homage? Is that copy? Is that a remake? I mean, Inglourious Bastards even has the name of another film.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it does. The Inglourious Bastards. Yes, that's right. He did have a YouTube channel where he did weather forecasts, but then he stopped doing it for a while, so people thought he was working on something new, like unrecorded night, something mysterious, something.
All those he did. So it was Lynch Theatre, right? David Lynch Theatre, and he did those. He filmed spiders in his office, like just on the window, and he would call it a short film and stick it on his YouTube channel. And there was a while where he answered questions, and his personal assistant would come and ask questions, and he'd answer. It was great.
Okay.
Once upon a time in the West.
Okay.
It's an amazing film, isn't it? Refined Solitude, Once Upon a Time in the West. That's I think that's along with Jeremiah Johnson, which I've just spoke about. I think Once Upon a Time in the West is the best spaghetti western. It's crazy because it's not very often you get that. I mean, it's not included in the Dollars trilogy, so it's not Fistful of Dollars, $2 More, or Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But Once Upon a Time in the West, it's like Leone just skyrocketed in style.
Well, it's kind of like the second trilogy.
And then he did Once Upon a Time in America too, right?
A Fistful of Dynamite, and then Once Upon a Time in America, yeah.
And I mean, the style in them is incredible, isn't it? It's such an incredible style. I love. It's my favorite score. Once Upon a Time in the West of his films.
Oh, right, okay.
With harmonica, and I mean Charles Bronson. We've probably mentioned it before. I grew up loving Charles Bronson movies, so Once Upon a Time in the West is one of my favorites. You got Jason Robards in there as well, and Henry Fonda playing that great villain. It's a beautiful film, and it's definitely Leone's most operatic film, because then I think Once Upon a Time in America is a lot more meditative than an opera, and it's a lot to do with the soundtrack as well, I guess. But I love the just operatic style of Once Upon a Time in the West. It's like a West opera. It's such a beautiful film. It's
everything that you want from a piece, like it's neo-Western, yes. It's but it's also got the atmosphere of a classic Western.
Oh, totally. Well, I mean, Solitude just said Once Upon a Time in the West is the best, but I enjoy Good, the Bad, and the Ugly more. And I know what you mean. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly's got more the moments I remember. Like I love the moment where the guys are singing outside and trying to beat him, and the guys are singing outside. And it really sticks out in my head, that scene, because it's so harsh and so real and so gritty.
Yeah.
I love the scene when Eli Wallach goes to see his brother, the priest,
Mm.
and he's like talking about his family and his mother and stuff. It's a great scene, that, because it opens up that character a whole lot more.
I think that's what he only did well, because it wasn't just one. Okay, Eastwood was just different characters in the 3 movies. We know that, but it was the same beats, but
Oh,
different layers.
yeah, totally. I'm many layers of character. That's a really good point. It
You
is,
know?
because obviously he's a criminal. He's this horrible guy that,
Yeah.
kills people and steals and cheats and.
And then in The Good, the Bad, and Ugly, he's kind of like a sheriff,
Aye.
but
But
he's
they're all bad people. None of them are good
an
people.
anti-sheriff. He's an anti-sheriff.
But
Yeah.
none of them are good people.
No, I know, but he's good in The Good, the Bad, and Ugly. Like
Yeah.
Tuco and Eli, oh, Jesus, what do you call him?
Angel Eyes.
No. Aye, but the actor. Oh,
Lee Van Cleef or Clint Eastwood?
yeah. Lee Van Cleef.
Lee Van Cleef.
Yeah. Yeah, he's obviously the bad, and then Tuco is the ugly, and But the thing is, you see, he's good, but he's an anti-sheriff, as I said.
He's a bad man, Angel Eyes. Yeah. He is. He's a bad man. He is. I mean, he lets somebody almost hang to the point of death and then shoots the rope. He's for cash. He kills a whole town of people like your Jimbo and Hang 'em High. I love Hang 'em High. I love that one.
That's a recent pickup. So
it's great, Hang 'em High. That's a really great western.
Just when you say hang, even the hangs on it. Yeah, this wasn't planned, Solitude, by the way.
Well, I mean, it's. I guess have we gotten off topic, or we're kind of hanging around?
Yeah. We're just hanging around, I think, now.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So to sum up, at least we answered the questions, right?
Yes, we did.
We did say it's a matter of respect. If the sequels or the prequel or the remake or the reboot's going to be good, and we think that they're always worthy because there's always a different audience, a different time, and a different generation.
Yeah, and culture.
And we need to keep passing down stories. We do.
Yes.
And we need to keep telling those stories because that's what we've done since the beginning of time.
Yep.
We've told we've told the same stories and we've passed them down. But some of them are better than others.
Yes.
And some of them are damn right awful.
Yeah, Morricone's legendary composer he was. Yep.
Exactly. Those movies wouldn't be the same. It's incredible what Morricone did with like guitar, strings, bass, drums, and a couple of fiddles and cellos. I mean, a lot of that stuff didn't have orchestras. He just made it sound like an orchestra. He did the same thing with Argento stuff. You know is it not Bird with Crystal Plumage? Is it the Cat of Nine Tails, right?
Yeah.
His stuff in those films is beautiful.
And I don't know if Le Professionnel came first, or maybe Chi Mai.
Oh, Chi Mai for The Mission.
Yeah.
But The Professional is great as well. That's Alain Delon. It's
no.
Oh, sorry, that's a Samurai. Sorry, that's a Samurai.
Belmondo.
Yep.
Jean-Paul Belmondo, yeah, and George Lautner directed.
It's
one of my favorites.
It's a great movie.
Great to there.
And it was, Morricone.
Actually, just on a remake tangent. Yes, he did. That's right. Solitude. Yeah, he worked with Carpenter on his music for the thing. Le Professionnel was remade as Leon the Professional by Besson.
Ah, all right.
You could say that, kind of a loose remake.
Well, I love that. I love the fact that I do love Leon. I do. Everyone, but I do love Nikita, La Femme Nikita. And that Leon, the character from La Femme Nikita. Sorry, Nikita. La Femme Nikita was a TV series.
Yes.
Nikita. Leon comes, you actually see where Leon came from, because I love Leon in the end of Nikita when he drives a car through the wall. So you know we're going to get the job done no matter what. That character's brilliant, and it really makes Nikita for me, that bit at the end. And I love the fact that he did a whole movie about Leon. It's awesome. It really is. Look, Besson's he's one of those guys, man. So, I mean, it's been hit or miss recently, I think, with Besson's work. But in the beginning, with Nikita, Subway, The Big Blue, his films were just knockout after knockout.
Artel, anything else you want to add, or?
Well, no, I mean it's cool. It's. Well, I think we've talked about. Well, I think we've talked about some of the good, some of the bad, and some of the ugly, haven't we?
Yes, just like Stephen King stories. So we've got to go back in the bad and ugly.
And cheers for that analogy, Solitude. You were the one that brought that up there. So
yes. Thank you, Solitude. Thank you, our other guests, whoever.
Hi, cheers, Adam, as well. I know Adam just popped in, but thanks very much.
There's 2 people watching, so. But thank you, Solitude, for your contribution. Much appreciated. Hope to see you again next time. So with that, we'll just say 2 words. 2 words. There we go. Said
it. Well, if you do like what we've talked about, you can check out my channel over on Boneyard Cinema.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be doing something. Funnily enough, for finishing on The Thing, I'm actually writing something about The Thing at the moment. Because I did a poll about John Carpenter's best movies, and a lot of people voted, and so I'm doing a couple of videos about Carpenter's best movies.
He's doing a thing on The Thing, so yeah.
And we didn't even talk about Memoirs of an Invisible Man or Village of the Damned. Two remakes I really admire.
Well, we can come down there. We can do a part 2, maybe.
Well, we're yawning. Thanks, Solitude. It's been great. Thanks, everyone, who listened.
Yeah.
And cheers, Gary, for having us along. I've really enjoyed this one.
Me too. No problem. Take it easy, lads and lassies and non-binary